Welcome to a sparkling new podcast from Mike Parry and Mike Graham. We're the two Mikes.
Actually, it sounds even better when you do it Dullsville, because when you try to be happy and excited and energetic, you sound pathetic.
Thanks. Good afternoon, I'm Mike Graham, he's Mike Parry, you're listening to the Two Mikes, and we're here for another week in for Hawksby and Jacobs. A massive bank holiday weekend starts here. We're celebrating with Mickey Quinn, TalkSport celebrity Newcastle fan, or Liverpool fan, can't quite decide which one it is. Can they clamber out of relegation with a win against Crystal Palace? Porky Parry will be explaining how he's stuck in a midlife crisis, and we're talking to a vicar who got himself in trouble for screening Life of Brian at his church. Plus, in the absence of Paul and Andy, we'll have a special Clips of the Week dedicated to the wisdom of the Porkmeister, and we'll join a party in Leicester ahead of what could be the victory parade. 08717 22 33 44. You're listening to the Two Mikes with me, Mike Graham, and Mike Parry on TalkSport. This is Talk Sport, and we are the Two Mikes, and it's time to say a very, very good afternoon to Mr. Mike Porky Parry. Very good afternoon to you, Mr. Parry.
Yes, good afternoon to you, Mike. I have to say, looking rather svelte today, rather smart. What's the occasion?
Yeah, well, there's a bit of a sort of an event after the show finishes this afternoon.
Bladderisation?
We'll be attending a nice restaurant.
Bladderisation?
Well, very possibly.
Could be.
Very possibly.
Yeah, good company, I hope.
Yes, I hope so.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. So you're not coming then?
Well, it's Friday afternoon. I'll let him get off with that one. Got a few tricks for you up my sleeve for the rest of the show.
Also, I was rather taken aback by the tweet that you put out earlier on this morning to suggest that I was normally spending my Friday mornings drinking, which in fact is very, very far from the truth, because, of course, unlike you, I have responsibilities. And what I normally do on a Friday is take my kids to school. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to do that today because I'm working with you. So, I'll be seeing them tomorrow.
Well, it must be coincidence then that the podcast that we normally put out after we do the overnight show, which normally comes out within about an hour of our finishing, is always delayed on a Friday morning.
Sometimes it is, yeah.
And do you know why that is?
Sometimes it's because there's a problem with the internal workings of the technology here at TalkSport, which, of course, you don't understand in any way, shape or form, do you?
Yes, and sometimes it's because you head off to a place called Borough Market, and for those of us who are lucky enough not to live in London and live in pastures fresh outside.
So you admit you don't live in London then?
Sorry?
So you've admitted you don't live in London then?
No, I'm talking about central London. Living and working in central London.
Yeah.
Some of the boozers round here be open at 6 a.m.
So if you say so.
The Bladderation Trails begin to 6 a.m. Well, you go there for breakfast and you imbibe and...
I have children to look after.
I have
children to look after.
No.
I know you have no understanding of family life because you're such a loner and a pathetic piece of social engineering. But in the end...
that's very nice.
In the end, all of these lies will come back to haunt you.
No, they won't come back to haunt me. Now, I feel rather ill today because I made a terrible mistake last night.
Did you?
I got home...
You went home early. That was a mistake you made.
I went home early, but I had to meet my money guy on the way home and talk, like, figures and all that kind of stuff.
Your money guy?
Yeah, the man who pays my taxes and all that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? Yeah, it was painful.
Was it?
Painful beyond belief.
Well, everybody's got to pay their taxes, you know.
Oh, no, I don't mind paying the taxes. It's just that, George Osborne, who I thought was like a laissez-faire chancellor, has hammered property owners with so many taxes now that, frankly, I might as well live in a mud hut on the middle of Romney Marsh.
It's good to share the wealth around. It's good to contribute to those who are less fortunate than yourself.
And I think it's a damned outrage that sometimes you work for 20 years and that famous T.S. Eliot,
or in your case, 45 years.
Yeah, T.S. Eliot poem, I can show you fear in a handful of dust. Well, the handful of dust that you show me fear in is a handful of concrete and sand.
Because you fear poverty, don't you?
I do fear poverty.
It's the one thing that you fear.
I do.
We heard John Hartson this morning talking about how he's afraid of cats.
Yes.
You're afraid of poverty.
Yes,
astonishing.
I do fear poverty, I have to say, because it's not a good thing. Who was it? Who was the famous person who said, I have known poverty and I have known wealth. Wealth is better.
I don't know.
Well, some famous guy did.
Really?
Anyway.
Thanks for preparing for the show so well.
Feeling stressed out, I had a couple of sherbets, right?
Did you?
Then the Chinese takeaway, which is very,
very... There's a theme developing here.
No, hang on. That's very nice.
Drinking for the whole show.
No, it's very nice indeed. But then I went home, and then...
Did you go to Wetherspoons?
No, I didn't actually.
Table for one?
No. And then a miraculous thing happened, which is why I don't feel too good today.
You are looking a bit pale, actually. Although it might be that horrendous shirt you're wearing. Is that the shirt you're planning to wear later?
This is a Van Hoosen.
Van Hoosen?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Excellent.
What's wrong with that? Excuse me, Van Hoosen's very famous and quality shirt.
Yes, of course.
Okay?
Yeah, right.
So anyway, So I opened a drawer in my kitchen, which I sort of never open. If you see what I mean.
It's a locked drawer normally.
No, it's not a locked drawer. It's just it's got sort of. It's got what I would call quality sort of kitchenware in there, like casserole
quality
dishes.
Kitchenware?
Yeah, casserole dishes.
It must be a big drawer.
No, it's a cupboard. It wasn't a drawer. It's a cupboard.
Oh, it's a cupboard.
And as I open it, guess what falls out?
I don't know.
A huge box of milk tray.
Right.
Which
How long had that been in there for?
Since Christmas, because I remember I bought it for my housekeeper for Christmas.
And why didn't you give it to her?
Well, I don't know. I must have forgotten.
Okay.
So anyway,
was it still unopened then?
Oh yes, yeah. I had all the cellophane
was it wrapped up
around
in Christmas paper?
No. It hadn't been wrapped, but it had cellophane around it. Anyway.
This is a very long story.
No,
we've got lots to talk about. Leicester might win the title this weekend.
I know. I want
Newcastle might come up against the Crystal Palace team that have been on the top.
Well, I tell you what, I want to
talk to Sam Allardyce, and Mickey Quinn's going to join us to talk about that.
Yeah, I want to talk to you
the
about...
Russian Grand Prix is going to get underway.
I want to talk to you about very kind Everton fans who are offering to give their tickets away to Leicester fans for what could be the crucial game. But anyway, very briefly,
because they can't bear to see their team actually giving up the title at their own ground.
Well, there is something in that. I'll talk to you about that. Yeah. But anyway, very briefly...
let's get back to the fascinating story about the milk tray.
I fancied a sweetmeat, something sweet.
Sweet meat?
Yes. So I opened the box. It's a huge box.
Yeah.
I ate the whole of the top tray, which was 25 chocolates.
Dear me.
And 6 of the second tray.
Goodness gracious.
30 chocolates.
That's ridiculous.
No, 31.
But surely a man in your condition, as we revealed yesterday, with only 49% of your heart working, should be very, very careful with eating that many sweets.
I'm so disgusted with myself, I took a picture of the remaining chocolates in the tray.
So you're feeling guilty?
Yeah, I am feeling very guilty. Yeah. And by the way, when I woke up this morning, I could still taste all the chocolate. It was horrible. It was disgusting and revolting.
Well, it certainly is. It's a horrible story.
No, I've thrown the rest out.
Please don't tell us anything else about what you've been eating.
How about this? Isn't this brilliant? Right. It was, by the way, this was mentioned in the last show, in Colin Murray's show. Yeah. Kind-hearted Everton fan have given away his ticket to a Leicester City supporter, age 6, so he can see the game where they could lift the Premier League trophy.
That is a nice gesture, isn't it?
I think it's lovely.
But so when you say for Everton fans, you mean one Everton fan?
Yes, but I'm saying it's because of social networks and all that. It's had a trickle-on effect, you see.
A knock-on effect.
Yeah, knock-on effect.
Yeah, and a trickle-on effect.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a trickle-down effect.
A trickle-down effect. Yeah. And other people are now doing it. And I have to say...
I've got a great tweet here from Gary who says, is Van Heusen mates with Ben Sherman?
Well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm sure they're all very close in the shirt community and all that.
Yes.
But a Van Heusen's a rather better quality than a Ben Sherman.
Yeah.
No, what I was going to say is, twice in my life, I've been in a stadium where I've had to watch the opposition beat Everton and clinch the Premier League title.
At Goodison or elsewhere?
Once at Goodison and once at the old Highbury, but both times it was Everton. It was Everton playing at Highbury.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah,
and it was Everton at Goodison Park.
Well, you were very popular with the Everton fans yesterday. You were trending apparently in Liverpool at one point.
Well, the thing is,
after the big row you had with our guest.
Well, what's the guest name
Peter
again?
McPartland.
Peter McPartland. Well, the point is, we had a bit of row all that.
TV.
But by 6 o'clock that evening, a very civilised nature had been restored to the debate.
Well, there's nothing wrong with a good debate, is there?
And Peter thanked us for making the platform available to have the debate, and I thank Peter for coming on and putting an alternative point of view on. Yes, of course. Yeah.
Okay. So you're looking forward to the weekend?
Well, yes and no.
I mean, it's unfortunate for a lot of people who are supporters of Premier League teams because unless you're fighting it out at the bottom or trying to do something to get into the top 4 or stay in the top 4, there's not a lot going on, really, is there?
Do you know what the problem is, Mike, when you win it away? Now, if Leicester City win it away at Old Trafford this weekend...
It's Blue Day in Leicester today,
It's Blue Day in Leicester, it's fantastic. They've got a chip shop with sausages with blue sausages
really?
And all that kind of stuff, yeah.
I'm not sure I fancy that
Well, it's a bit of a gimmick. But
the chip's blue as well?
No, and by the way, over in Bangkok, they've just gone mad. They're crazy. They're crazy for Leicester, which is great. But what I was going to say is, if they win it away and it's the last day of the season, that's when they have to give them the trophy.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's soul-destroying because, for instance, when the Arsenal fans came to Everton, I think there were only about 2,500 of them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's the only allocation you get. Of course, Everton fans don't want to be any part of a celebration for another team's victory, so they've streamed out of the ground. By the time all the Premier League, fixers have come on and put up the gate which says, enter the Premier League champions and all this kind of stuff, there's hardly anybody left in the ground.
Well, I remember going to a Scottish Cup final, Rangers and Celtic, anticlimactic, where practically before the players had actually finished shaking hands with each other.
That's right.
One half of Hampden was completely empty.
Of course, but
it was bizarre.
But that happens in every cup final. But what I'm saying is, it's always nice if you can arrange it to get that trophy lifted in front of your home fans.
Yeah.
Because in front of the away fans hate it. Absolutely hate it. They're being reminded that somebody else has won a trophy and you haven't.
Yeah, Pete says this, Porky's weight issues now explained. A few sherbets, a Chinese takeaway and a large box of chocolates.
Yeah,
Pretty much says it all, really. We'll be talking to Mickey Quinn coming up next. Can Newcastle get themselves out of relegation against Crystal Palace? This is TalkSport. This is TalkSport. We are the two mics, and of course the Premier League is back this weekend. We've got loads of it right here on TalkSport. We've got Arsenal and Norwich coming up, and then we've got Swansea, Liverpool and Manchester United, Leicester, which could of course be the title decider. Who knows? But Crystal Palace are also going to St James Park to take on Newcastle, and Sam Allardyce has been talking about the game, suggesting that the Crystal Palace players have all been on the pop since they managed to get themselves past Watford and into the final of the FA Cup. We're going to talk now to our celebrity Newcastle fan, Mr. Mickey Quinn, TalkSport legend, of course. Mr. Quinn, a very good afternoon to you.
Morning, Mike G. Morning, Mike P.
Mickey, how are you,
I've been saying good morning to people all week, and I managed to say good afternoon, and then you said good morning.
Yeah.
I know you get into the thing. I still think I'm interviewing you on the weekend sports breakfast.
Yeah, I know. Well, it could happen.
Yeah.
You know, it could happen.
Yeah. Now,
Mickey,
Mickey,
Mr. Parry said to me before the show, he said the thing that puzzles me most about Mickey Quinn is that I can't work out whether he's a bigger Liverpool fan than he is a Newcastle fan.
Well,
and I think that's a bit unfair.
No, Mickey, it's very unfair, mate. All I said was, does Mickey wear a Newcastle shirt like as a vest, and then a Liverpool shirt as his second vest, and then a white shirt, and
anything's better than wearing an Everton one, I suppose.
Quinny, I perfectly understand on the days when your column is coming out in the Evening Chronicle Newcastle, a paper I worked for, of course you're a Newcastle fan. But then on days when you talk to the lads on Radio City in Liverpool, you know what I mean?
Let me tell you, Liverpool are the team I grew up supporting, lifelong fan.
Sure.
Newcastle are the best professional team that I played for, the happiest I was as a professional, and with that number 9 on your back, adored by thousands of Geordies up there. So I love Newcastle United.
Yeah, and for that,
I love Liverpool. Simple as that. Professional.
It's a very good answer, Mickey. And I don't know why he was trying to sort of, suggest that there was some kind of duplicity going on.
I thought,
typical Porky,
The thing is, Mickey, I can never wind you up because you just laugh it off. But anyway, there we go. Mickey, it's because of what you just said about Newcastle United that you must be on tenterhooks, literally, because I don't think they can save themselves. I think Sunderland might, but I don't think they can.
Well, I think they've got a chance, and they give themselves a chance, unbeaten in the last 3. It's took Rafa probably 3 or 4 games just to sort out his best team. He's had 8 games, 7 or 8 games to sort it all out, what he had to do when he was brought in. He made Shelby captain straight away. Then he thought, well, Shelby's going to be too slow in midfield. I'll drop him. I'll put Sissoko in the middle of midfield, so on and so on. He's made the changes. Now he's getting a bit of consistency out of the team. There's a bit of passion. There's a bit of fight. And Mike, they give themselves a chance.
I accept that, but I accept that, Mick. But in your heart of hearts, do you think they're going to be able to escape?
I do.
Oh, okay.
I'll tell you for why. I think that they've got Palace tomorrow. The way Palace are playing, they're through the semi-final. In the league, they haven't ripped up any trees. The focus might be on the FA Cup final. They don't want suspensions. They don't want to be getting stuck into, you know what I mean? It's human nature just to switch off a little bit. I think Newcastle at home can get that 3 points. I think the next game is Aston Villa, which is like a gimme in golf, a tap-in. Yeah. Everyone's beating them, getting 3 points. There's 6 massive points in 2 games, which squeezes the pressure on Sunderland and Norwich. Norwich away to Arsenal, I don't think they get anything. And Stoke, they need a performance tomorrow. They're on the back of 3-4-0 defeats in the last 3 games. A bit of professional pride. And Sunderland, they're not scoring goals. Yeah, he's got them playing. He's got them fighting for everything. But, 0-0, I think it was a disappointing result for them last week.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. And for Rafa Benitez, it wasn't the easiest of starts coming into Newcastle the way he did. But he's got them playing a lot better, isn't he?
He has, and that's what the difference between this team to, 2 months ago under the McLaren is unbelievable. They're looking more solid. They're tighter as a unit. They're fighting, there's skills, there's goals there now as well, and there just wasn't any of that, when McLaren was manager. I'm not can't hand on heart, can't say they are going to stay up. But I tell you what, they've given themselves a massive chance. And if they win these next 2 games, it just adds the pressure on the other 2 teams.
Sure. Now, what about Liverpool last night? Your other team, Mickey, if you pardon me for calling them that. But, I mean, down by the Yellow Submarine, it was going all right until right at the end. 0-0 would have been OK. 1-0's not a disaster, but a lot of people questioning Klopp's tactics, why he didn't have Sturridge playing and all that. What do you reckon?
Is Mickey gone?
I think he's gone.
He's gone.
He doesn't want to talk about Liverpool.
He's had enough. He's probably traumatised.
We'll have to get him back because I do want to know what his view is on Sturridge.
I totally agree.
I don't know what you think, it seemed as though they should have had a better striker up there.
Just going back to what Mickey said for a minute, Mike, about Newcastle and Liverpool. I mean, to me now, Villa and Norwich are going down. Villa obviously.
Norwich are not looking good, I have to say.
I think Norwich have just imploded. They've just gone. I think
something's gone wrong, hasn't it?
Yeah, and so it's. But I still think that of the 2 managers, I think Sam has a better opportunity of rescuing Sunderland than Rafa has of rescuing Newcastle.
Yeah, but that's partly because of his reputation in doing that, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I mean, as Mickey says, at the moment you'd have to say Newcastle are playing better football. They're somehow rejuvenated with Rafa Benitez, who you initially didn't think was going to do the trick.
Well, I still don't think he will. And the Sam thing, Big Sam. Well, what he's doing was he was doing the Alex Ferguson thing, wasn't he, with Kevin Keegan? Right. The teams aren't trying hard enough against you. Anyway, let's get back to Liverpool.
We got Mickey back. Mickey, I don't know how much of what my question was about Sturridge and Liverpool and all that.
I did get it, Mike, before it flicked off. Basically, Liverpool last night, right? Honest opinion.
Yeah.
Looked at the team. I was excited, semi-final Europa League. And then I thought, Toure, Lovren, Moreno, Milner, Lucas Allen, midfield. And I thought, Jesus, how ordinary does this team look on paper? I mean, the front 3, Firmino, Coutinho, and Lallana, they can create and they're exciting. And then I thought, I just had a moment of realism, really. What Klopp has achieved with this squad is far beyond what I thought he did.
But could they not have done even more with Benteke instead of bringing him on right near the end? And I mean, one of the bizarre things for me was Toure after the game saying how well the guy took the goal. And he brought it down brilliantly and a fantastic piece of skill. And you go, well, you don't really want to hear that from your defenders, do you?
No, and you're left back. Yeah. You're left back with 30 seconds of the game to go, playing left wing again. But what I'm saying is, I've been carried away with the Klopp thing. I think he's a brilliant coach, and he's got every inch. In fact, he's improved these players from Rodgers, something like 25-30%. He's got them to a League Cup final. He's in a semi-final. And just the harsh reality hit home last night. I thought he missed a trick. I thought he should have played Sturridge up front. I don't know whether he's fell out with Sturridge.
Yeah, but there must be some reason. I was going to say, Mickey, there's got to be a reason for that, because logic dictates that Sturridge should have been playing.
He is one of the best strikers in the Premier League, and the last 3 appearances he scored goals. Yeah. And I don't know. Look, it's up to him. I thought they were very conservative. I thought they had lots of possession. Even saying that, they probably deserved a draw. But they've got to be better at Anfield, and he's got to pick a better team, I'm afraid, if they're going to beat that team, because they're a dangerous team, Villarreal.
Yeah, they really are. Liverpool taking on Swansea. You heard John Hartson this morning on breakfast saying he's pretty sure Brendan Rodgers is coming back to Swansea for another go. So what do you make of that?
Yeah, I think that looks on. Look, Brendan Rodgers is a young manager. He deserves another crack with the Premier League team. And he did very well at Swansea. And I read Joe Allen's linked back to Swansea as well. So that could be on the cards as well. Because there's another thing about Liverpool last night. I think that at least 6 of them players will not be there next season of that team that started. Right. And that's a huge amount of players in that team last night.
Now, we've heard a filthy rumour, I presume it's not true, Mickey, but obviously you're on Sports Breakfast tomorrow, that you might be floating around Newmarket.
7 a.m, boys, please.
You might be floating around Newmarket later with a certain Mr. Brazil.
No, tomorrow. It's the Guineas meeting. 2,000 Guineas tomorrow, Newmarket headquarters.
Yes.
Of flat racing. And I think Mr. Brazil is making a guest appearance. It's Saturday and Sunday up here in Newmarket.
Oh no, I think it's more a guest appearance, Mickey. I think it's
the bunting is out, Michael. The bunting is out.
I think it's a sort of the king arriveth type. I mean, for instance, I'm not saying that Al's looking for a big weekend, but you did realise he took today off to get into training for tomorrow, don't you?
We are in trouble then. We are in trouble.
Have a great weekend, Mickey.
Fantastic meeting.
Thank you very much indeed. Mickey Quinn back with the Weekend Sports Breakfast, of course, with Georgie Bingham tomorrow and Sunday. Big Newmarket weekend as well.
That's the amazing thing about
Shocking
that,
scenario.
I want to be in really good shape for tomorrow, so I thought I'd better have a bit of a loosen up session.
Well, you say that. I couldn't possibly comment. This is Talk Sport. Talk Sport, we are the two mics coming up a little bit later on. We're going to be talking about the NFL draft. I know that's a big favourite subject of yours, American football.
Yes.
We're going to have a defensive tackle coming in by the name of Michael Bennett.
Yes.
Who will be a very large man, I would imagine, so be very careful what you say.
We certainly will.
Because in the past you've been less than, complimentary, have you not, about American football?
Yes, I have been less than complimentary. Not because I think there's anything wrong with American football. I just don't think there's a great appetite for it in this country. But I bet you a lot of the lads in Fleet Street will have convinced their sports editors to pay huge amounts of money to get them out to Chicago, where the draft has been taking place this week.
Absolutely.
And you'll see all the pieces in the Sunday papers probably saying, why don't we introduce it into this country?
Yeah.
Did you just tell me we've had a message from our old friend Derek?
Derek in Pencoed. Yeah, he is the man who constantly keeps you straight, really. I think he's a man who has a conscience on your behalf. He says, Mike, after Porky yet again claimed you gerrymandered the quiz, I have a challenge for him if he is up for it. All he has to do is swat up on some of the subjects he has had on a quiz on over the past few weeks, because I have some questions of my own I'd like to ask him, unless he's too scared to take it. Well, he says.
Now you see,
I'm not quite sure if he wants to give you an individual quiz of some kind.
See, this is Derek.
Pencoed, you plonker.
It's very nice, isn't it, Pencoed? Of course, Derek's a bog.
Do you remember
cleaner,
we were coming back from? He does clean some different things. He cleans offices. He cleans all sorts of things. He's a cleaner.
But I think
you have sort of a disdain for him as a result of that.
Well, I don't have a disdain at all. I think he's a fine man, and it is a noble profession to go around cleaning bogs, because somebody's got to do it. But what I'm saying is, I think Derek is trying to stir up a bit of trouble for me, really, because I had a couple of communications last night from the Principality, that's Wales, obviously, where, of course, you used to work. Now, we're going there a week on Saturday, going to Cardiff to the Tramshed to live show, very nice indeed. And
when was the last time you were in Wales? Probably for a cup final, wasn't it?
Yeah, probably was. It was probably the 5 years that I went there to the, what's it called again?
Well, it was called the Millennium Stadium.
Millennium,
it's now been renamed, I believe.
What is it?
Yeah, I don't know. It's got a new
sponsor. The Millennium,
it's got another name.
Yeah, but anyway, the point of my story is, I did a tribute to Dylan Thomas.
Yes.
And it was an accurate and factual tribute to the fact that Dylan Thomas, Wales' greatest ever poet...
This is a video tribute.
Yes, a video tribute, under Milk Wood, and I tried to get into character.
Well, I did warn you about it, didn't I?
Well, so I did this, and we put it out on YouTube, didn't we, on Two Mics TV.
Yeah.
Then I started getting a few complaints, and I was a bit suspicious about whether the complaints are coming. I think Derek's been trying to wind people up.
Well, I did say to you, you have to be very careful, because it's a very proud nation, the Welsh.
Of
and
course,
if you start messing around with some of their more kind of famous fathers, if you like, and whatever people say about Dylan Thomas, he was a remarkable guy, fantastic poet.
Of course he was.
One of the most literary sort of legends of all time in the British Isles.
But he liked to drink, didn't he?
But why did you sort of put him out as some kind of dipso?
No, I didn't.
You clearly were trying to show that he was drunken and a man who couldn't take his drink.
No, I didn't.
Drank himself to death and all that sort of stuff.
But he did drink himself to death.
Probably you will do the same.
What the coroner wrote on his death certificate was assault on the brain, and he meant a massive assault of alcohol ingestion into the body.
Right.
Now, all I was doing when I did my tribute to Dylan Thomas was actually do it in character.
Right.
And when I mentioned that 25 large whiskies in a day, that's apparently to the reports I read.
Well, it inspired him to write some great poems.
Well, of course he did, and he was a great poet, and I paid tribute to him. But now people are getting all upset and saying you've been, disrespectful to our greatest ever.
I mean, as usual, what happens is we go and do a live show somewhere, and before we go there, you upset half the country or half the county or half the area.
I would like our listeners now, our audience now, to make their own mind up. Where can they access that video, please?
Well, I'm going to actually tweet it out now, just because I think people, if enough people say, for heaven's sake, do not produce that sort of thing anymore, we'll have it removed. We'll take it down from YouTube.
Okay, I'll accept that.
If we get enough people actually
voting. If the verdict from the people is that, look, this is not a true and accurate portrayal of Dylan Thomas, the greatest ever Welsh poet, then I'm happy to accede to that, no problem.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, we'll tweet that out on the Two Mics Twitter account, which, of course, is at the Two Mics. So, did you watch the Liverpool game last night?
Not all of it.
You didn't watch all of it. Well, you got to watch it all the way to the end because, of course, the goal came once again in injury time.
I have to admit that I kind of picked up on it later. I was very busy last night. I had an awful lot of things to do. Yeah.
Well, you were piling your way through all those chocolates, obviously.
Well, I was under stress last night. That's one reason why I had those chocolates and took too many. By the way,
did you have a bit of a headache, by the way, last night?
What?
Did you have a bit of a headache as a result of all the stress?
No, I don't get headaches.
You don't get headaches at all?
I've never had a headache and I've never had a hangover.
Really?
How about that?
Yeah, that really amazes me. That does surprise me.
Why?
Well, because I was reading something this morning which says that basically the more friends you have, the less pain you feel. And particularly headaches are much more prone to happen to people who don't have any friends, because apparently endorphins are released when you socialise. And we know that you don't like socialising at all. Of
course,
you don't
I like socialising.
You don't like hanging around with people. You never really like meeting people.
I don't like...
You don't like to be joined by anybody in a hostelry.
No.
You don't actually like people, do you?
I do like people, but I'm selecting the people I like, if you see what I mean. I don't like going into sort of, areas of non-communicado nos, if you see what I mean.
No, I don't know what that means.
Well, I don't like sort of being plunged into things with people I don't know. I don't like dinner parties and that sort of stuff, where you walk in there and you don't know half the people around the table, because the first time
I can't imagine you get invited to very many. Do you know we got invited to the House of Lords, by the way, this
I know.
week?
What happened there?
Unfortunately, we can't attend. It's next week.
Yes.
And it's some new organisation that's starting up, which is a sort of cross between sporting and media.
Well, if it's early
people.
evening, we can go.
No, but it's in the afternoon. It's when we're on the radio. It's
I
I think it's next Wednesday, 12:30 to 2:30.
Oh, I see.
And it's a drinks reception. I mean, you can go if you want. I'll just do the show on my own if you like.
Well, no,
because I know how desperate you are to go to a free drinks reception.
But anyway, this headache thing, what's all this about?
Well, basically it says that if you haven't got very many friends, you're more likely to have more headaches.
Well,
because,
that's mad.
This is a study at the University of Oxford, and we're going to be talking to a guy from there, not about this, but about something else. 107 people answered a questionnaire about who they had contact with in person on a weekly and monthly basis. Yeah. Now, I reckon, aside from you coming in here, you don't have contact with anyone, do you?
I think this is something I know, but I think it's called the brain opioid theory of social attachment.
Brain opioid theory?
I think it's the brain opioid theory of social attachment.
That doesn't sound like a real word.
No, it is.
To me.
I read about this in my medical journals.
Did you?
And that's what I think it is. And I tell you what, one of two things is true or false.
Right.
I've never had a headache, literally. I don't know what a headache is.
I don't believe you.
I've never had a headache, and I've never had a hangover.
Right.
So
you've also never had a day off sick in your life, have you?
Well, apart from the 7 months when I was on the heart transplant register, obviously.
Yeah.
But I mean, what I'm saying is...
I don't believe you.
No, what I'm saying is, either I have got friends because I don't get headaches, or this is a load of balderdash because if I haven't got friends, I don't get headaches anyway.
Maybe you've just got a very high tolerance for pain, which they say the less friends you have, the less tolerance for pain you have as well. So you're just a freak of nature, basically.
I always feared being a secret agent, getting captured and tortured, because I don't like pain, actually.
Don't you?
No, I don't want people to put chisels under my
fingernails
fingernails or anything like that.
I don't think anybody's going to be doing that anytime soon.
A hot iron down my spine would really... I'd find that very uncomfortable.
No, I don't think you'd enjoy that at all.
No.
Now, coming up, we're going to talk to John Halstead about killer robots.
Excellent.
And whether they might wipe out the entire human race and indeed bring an end to the world. But hopefully it won't be too much doom and gloom.
Well, I hope not.
Because it's a big weekend coming up. Bank holiday weekend, of course. This is Talk Sport. Recognise that?
Is that War of the Worlds? Was it?
No.
What is it then? It's hang on. It's something like The Day After Tomorrow or something.
No, it's not that.
Okay, we're talking about Apocalypse Now.
It's not Apocalypse Now.
Apocalypse Now?
You are absolutely hopeless.
What is it then?
It's the Terminator.
Terminator, right, okay.
You know, where robots come from the future back into the present to kill the boy that started the revolution.
My God. My God, that's...
Have you not seen the Terminator?
Science fiction gone mad? No, I haven't, no. Is that...
How can you not have seen the Terminator?
Is it Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Arnold Schwarzenegger,
yes,
that's
I know about that, yeah.
How can you not have seen it? How can you not have seen it?
I just saw the reviews in some of the newspapers this morning for the latest film about Batman, Superman and all that. What's the rest of it called?
Batman versus Superman.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant
reviews. What's the rest
reviews.
of it called?
Hey?
No, the reviews have not been brilliant, actually.
No, it's not that one. It's a new one.
Batman vs Superman is really long. It's about 2.5 hours
Is it Iron Man? Is it Iron Man or something?
Eh?
What was it this morning? They were fantastic.
I don't know. How can you ask me what you read this morning? I have no idea.
Yeah, I read a
I'm not
review.
psychic.
I read a review of a film, and I think it was Iron Man or something, but it was brilliant.
Iron Man.
I'll try and find it in a minute because
don't take too long because we've got to talk to John Halstead, who is a research fellow at the Global Priorities Project. Because scientists have apparently said that there are 6 main dangers that could wipe wipe out humanity, right?
Yeah.
Now, 1 could be climate change, 2 could be nuclear war,
right.
3 could be an escaped lab virus, which I presume has nothing to do with a Labrador, a drought, which could happen, or killer robots.
Killer robots?
No, it all seems a bit doom and gloom for a bank holiday
Certainly
weekend.
does,
but how about this from Paolo, who's tweeted out the 2 mics? And poor old Leicester on the brink of the Premier League title, and we all get wiped out by robots.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a bit unfortunate. Let's talk to Mr. Holstead. John, a very good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon to you.
Hi,
now,
John.
I mean, I call me old-fashioned, but this does sound like a little bit of a sort of pessimistic outlook on the world, doesn't it?
Well, we've deliberately gone out to try and find the most damaging things and tried to provide a fair reflection of the evidence on them. So,
have you managed to come up with a sort of like a bookie's sheet on the odds of each one happening?
We've given a tentative ranking, although I don't think anyone's put any money on yet. So probably in the next 5 years, we think nuclear war, a pandemic, or an escaped lab pandemic are probably the most likely.
In the next 5 years, really? And I wasn't suggesting that you would put money on it, because there wouldn't be much point collecting it once the world's ended, really, would there?
Good point.
That's
a good point.
What about the killer robots, then? Where are they coming from?
We don't actually mention killer robots in the report, but it has been reported that way. It's just about artificial intelligence, the fact that it could be very powerful and more intelligent than us, be able to outsmart us, so we need to think about how we're going to control it. But there's no actual mention of robots or even the Terminator.
Okay, well, we had a report there. No, sorry, what's your problem?
There's just no mention of killer robots.
Well, yes, but I mean, it has to... I mean, the thing is...
some great research you've done here, Porky.
No, the thing is, John, that you have such a scientific background, the possibility...
Well, he is a scientist.
Yes, exactly. The possibility is that we build machines in the future to do things like the hoovering, the ironing, to drive our cars, and they suddenly get fed up with their menial tasks. They turn on us, their intelligence becomes greater than ours, and they decide to wipe us out. That could happen, couldn't it? The Daleks could rule the world.
I mean, that's a possibility, maybe a quite kind of slight one. I don't know whether we're going to be killed by our Hoover or anything, but I think it might be the...
I suspect not. But we are now having sort of not just labour-saving devices, but I mean, cars are now completely computerised. You know, a lot of people's homes are now completely computerised as well. Yeah. There is a lot more that is out of our control and in the control of what you might call a robot, even without the fact that it doesn't walk around.
Yes, that's true. And the more control we give, the more we need to think about how we kind of stop them from doing things we don't want them to do.
Well, exactly. Now, John, this is absolutely the point I was going to get to. You have identified ways the world could end. Surely the next move for you is to go and approach people to say, right, now we have to put into operation methods of preventing all these things. We've got to prevent drought. We've got to prevent an escaped lab virus. We've got to prevent climate change and nuclear war. Is that what you work on a day-to-day basis?
That's the idea, that we try and influence people who have power and money and get them to do something about it. So there's 22 recommendations in the report. Amongst them are trying to reduce nuclear stockpiles, planning for extremely bad pandemics, like increasing lab safety, and things like that.
OK, do you accept, John, that the world was wiped out by an asteroid, a meteorite, which wiped out the dinosaurs?
Well, it didn't wipe out the world.
You know, well, it wiped out anything living on the world. Wiped out Stone Age man and the dinosaurs. Do we accept that as a scientific fact?
I don't think it would have wiped out Stone Age man, but there's good evidence.
They weren't really there, were they?
No, that's a good point. But there's good evidence that it wiped out the dinosaurs. Yeah, so there's this huge asteroid in Mexico called Chicxulub or something like that. I can't pronounce it.
Sound like Porky trying to pronounce that. Yeah, but I mean, the thing is, there was also plenty of species that survived, because otherwise there wouldn't be anything left. You know, alligators, crocodiles, those kind of things survived. Birds survived as well, John, didn't they?
That's true, yeah, that's true.
Oh, is that right? So, why was it only the dinosaurs who died then? Because they were bigger and needed more food or something?
I'm not 100% sure about that. I just know that a lot of people believe that it did...
you sure you're actually a scientist, John?
I'm starting to doubt it now.
Well, no, John, don't doubt it, but let me give you a tip. Watch that film that Raquel Welch was in, because there were dinosaurs around...
The one with the fur bikini?
Yeah, because there were dinosaurs around when she was around, so, you know, that's what I've learned.
That's basically your historical kind of journal-type research, isn't it?
Well, I mean...
Raquel Welch was in a film once, which was fiction, which had to do with dinosaurs being around at the same time as humans.
That's all I'm telling you. Now, John, quite seriously, let's talk seriously for a moment. Are any of these possibilities anywhere near close to being credible theories. I mean, you know, they all sound like the plot of a film script that's going to be a horrible ending to the world. But realistically, are we in trouble?
Yeah, so the more you read about them, I found the more worried you become. So the UK government's Stern review on climate change said that there was a kind of 0.1% chance of extinction per year. If that's true, that's like 5 times the chance that you'll die in a car accident. So it's kind of worryingly high in a lot of areas.
I'll tell you what, here's what I'm going to ask you, John. Does the academic community believe in things like the day after tomorrow? Because my son, who's 11, right, is at secondary school, he found himself being he's seen the film, obviously, but he found himself being taught by the teacher that this is something that could happen as a result of climate change. And I found that to be quite remarkable.
I've not actually seen the film, so I can't comment. I've not.
What?
Yeah, sorry. I should have done the research, but
you should have really. What are you doing with yourself today, John? You did any work today?
Exactly. I saw the Rackle Welsh film, pal. So you know.
Yeah.
What have you done? What have you done today, John?
What have I done today?
Yeah, what have you done?
What scientific...
any discoveries?
Yeah, discovery you made. Yeah, that's what I need to know. Yeah, John.
Don't let him answer the question.
Yeah. Well, you're embarraing him. He hasn't done anything today.
Have you done nothing? Come on, John. You must have done something.
Might have done something.
What have you done? Come on, tell us. You've been in the lab?
Came to work.
What have you done? Killed a couple of mice in the pursuit of pursuit of scientific research or something?
Well, what have you done, John?
No, there's no mice on my hands, unfortunately.
Okay. Well, we've got some here at Talk Sport.
Yeah, we have actually in the kitchen. Yeah. You can have them if you want for scientific research. Yeah. Now, listen, one last question here, John. I believe that within a couple of years that the presence of nuclear weapons on Earth will be irrelevant, because surely we're bright enough now to know that if there's a nuclear missile coming towards us from China, all we do is ping up another one to blow it up in the air, don't we?
Make it sound so easy.
Yeah.
It's one possibility, but the defence systems aren't big enough to destroy all the missiles that could come. So, I mean, they take out a small fraction, unfortunately. So if Russia did decide to blow us up for whatever reason, then we would have little standing in the way.
Oh, Mr. Putin won't do that, don't worry.
Well, let's hope it never happens. John, listen, have a great rest of the day. Hope it's a bit more fruitful than the morning so far.
Yeah, indeed,
we'll talk to you. Hopefully the world won't end in the next 5 years.
No, it won't.
Let's get you on again soon.
Perhaps John go and invent something this afternoon, justify the huge amounts of public money we probably pay him, or something like that.
There's no need to be rude. We've got lots more coming up in the next hour. We're going to be talking to Michael Bennett, who's a Jacksonville Jaguars defensive tackle. He's going to tell us all about the NFL draft. And, of course, we're going to have a tribute to the Porkmeister coming up a little bit later on, instead of Clips of the Week. This is Talk Sport. Talk Sport. We are the two mites in for Hawksby and Jacobs for another week, of course, while they enjoy themselves in some far-flung part of the world, possibly Wales, we don't know.
Yes.
But a lot of people coming up with reasons why you shouldn't go to Cardiff next week.
Well,
because you've upset them with that video.
What? But
what sort of noise is that?
Well, because
it's a noise you've never made before.
No, I'm just warning you. I've had notification that, in fact, Dylan Thomas was a Swansea boy.
Yes.
And the people of Cardiff are, not in any way...
There'll be people coming to Cardiff from Swansea.
Well, I suppose so. Yeah, it's just down the road,
John
really,
Hartson's a Swansea boy, and he's going to come.
Is he?
We're hoping to talk to him next week about that.
Yeah, exactly.
Charles says this: Porky's living proof that humans lived alongside dinosaurs.
That's very hard.
And William, on the other hand, says Porky's far too intelligent to be wiped out by any catastrophe or robots. He would be the first to be prepared for such an event.
Well, that's very nice. That's a complimentary one, is it?
Well, it is complimentary, yeah. And Nathan says, is this scientist related to Porky? He can't pronounce things, doesn't watch films, and won't tell you what he's done today.
Oh, that's
actually
nice,
very true, isn't it?
No, it's not.
Because you are very, very secretive about what you do during the day.
I thought you were a little bit harsh on, on that chap there, because, I mean, he clearly does a good job. I mean, what you were trying to say is, what have you done today? Scientists spend years and years and years coming up with solutions to problems, and it's very unfair to put them on the spot and ask them what they're doing on one particular day. Listen, talking about that film, Rackle Welsh.
Yeah.
Do you remember that Ringo...
2,000 years BC or something it was called, wasn't it?
I think it was a million years BC, wasn't it?
A million years BC.
Yeah, and do you remember the Ringo Starr starred in a film like that?
Yes, he did.
It's where he met Barbara Bach.
Yeah, was he not in that one? Maybe he was in that one.
No, because that was Rackle Welsh.
He was in a sort of comedy version.
He was in a sort of comedy version where the only words he had to utter were "Oog."
Yeah. Oog. Yeah, he played a caveman.
He played a caveman, and then I'm going "Oog, Hoog.
Yeah.
But the thing is, Barbara Bach was in that film. God knows why, because
Yeah.
she's a brilliant actress. And
She was a Bond girl, wasn't she?
She starred in The Spy Who Loved Me. She
Right.
was brilliant. She was Agent Triple X.
Yes.
Hello, this is Agent Triple X. When they thought, obviously, that Agent Triple X was the man who was in bed with her. You know what I mean?
Oh,
that,
really?
that was the twist in the
I
plot.
don't know how you managed to remember
Yeah,
so many
but,
details from James Bond and
but
almost nothing about anything else.
But anyway, the point of my story is,
what is the point of your story?
funny enough, as I was digesting some journals last night, I came
Yeah.
across the amazing fact that Ringo Starr and Barbara Bach yesterday celebrated their 35th wedding anniversary.
Really? That's quite a milestone, isn't
I
it?
mean, crikey, in show business terms, 35 years is
Are they
a hell
still
of a
living
long
in
time.
California? Weren't they selling off their place or something out there?
No, I think more to the point, I think they were selling a £12 million house in Surrey,
okay.
which was a very big house with turrets and all that kind of stuff.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
they got rid of that.
Right.
But what is most interesting was that it was their 35th wedding anniversary,
Right.
but it was also apparently their 28th anniversary of them both going into rehabilitation.
Right.
And taking the pledge not to drink again.
Is that right?
Which they've stuck to rigidly.
28 years.
Yeah, absolutely rigidly, you know, and you know...
Imagine how much you've had to drink in 28 years.
Quite a lot.
Yeah, I would say
but
so.
But what I was going to say was, Ringo clearly needed to go into rehabilitation. Now, apparently, Barbara Bach was a sort of moderate drinker, if you see what I mean,
Yes.
or, you know. But, of course, if you've
Just
got
a sort of regular drinker.
Yeah, that's right. But if you've got a partner in life who's a heavy drinker, then you try to sort of cut down on your own drinking to encourage your partner not to.
Yes.
The problem was, Ringo at the time was drinking 16 bottles of wine a day.
16.
How do you get through 16 bottles of
That
wine
is
a
quite
day?
remarkable, isn't it?
I mean, just think about it. I mean, that's... How much
Well,
is
on
it?
his own, is that?
On his own.
That's ridiculous.
How much is in one bottle of
Well,
wine?
I mean, if
is
you
it a
consider
pint
that for
or,
8
or a
hours,
litre?
Well, if you consider for 8 hours a day you're asleep,
Yes.
right, that's about one bottle per hour, isn't it?
That's incredibly. That's right. Yeah, that's an incredible statistic. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I know one bottle of wine, if you're in a pub, is 3 large glasses.
Well, it's more than that, isn't it?
No, it's 3 large glasses. 3
Really?
huge glasses. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, those huge glasses, yeah.
the 275 measure.
But it should be about 4, shouldn't it?
No, it's
4
not.
or
It's
5.
3. It's
Really?
3. But I've
Well,
seen it.
I'll bow to your superior knowledge on that one.
Oh, I've seen it so many times. I've gone up to the bar and said, a couple of large Pinots, please.
Yeah.
And then you only go back, couple of large Pinots, please. There's only one left in the first bottle, and then they open another, and there's 2 come out of that.
Oh, right.
Then you go for the third one,
Okay.
2 large Pinots, please. They have to open another
You seem
bottle.
remarkably well informed on
Well,
this
I
subject.
am well informed, but the point I was making, can you imagine if Ringo at his height on the 16 bottles of wine a day met our very good friend, Mr. Alan Brazil, for lunch?
Who we spoke about just a little bit earlier with Mickey Quinn.
That's right. I'll go to Newmarket tomorrow.
Right.
But do you know who would win? Do you know who'd walk out of the pub looking like he hadn't had a drink? And do you know who'd be carried out?
Who?
Al would walk out looking like he hadn't had a drink, and Ringo would be carried out. I'm sorry, over the years, I've seen so many people who have tried to out-bladderate Mr. Brazil.
Yeah.
And
Although I think you're doing him a bit of a disservice because he was asked about this the other day by Danny Murphy, and he said it's all a myth.
What?
The amount that Mr. Brazil drinks is all an absolute...
I totally
utter myth.
agree. What I'm saying is Al never gets into drinking competitions or anything like that. He goes for a social drink. He drinks whatever he wants to drink. People have this mystical, demonic determination to outdrink Alan Brazil,
Right.
and they end up under the
Because they
table all
think
the
it's some
time.
kind of legend that they have to take on.
Exactly.
Now, I've got some news for you here because
Right.
I've just discovered on my information device that
Yes.
the New Day, our favourite paper, which
Oh,
was never
yes.
going to be online,
Yeah, where is it?
is now apparently putting out an iPad edition. So I'm just downloading it so that I can have a look at it on the iPad.
Where is the copy of today's paper? Because
I'm getting it on my iPad.
haven't we got to do the quiz on the back?
Well, yeah, but that's what I'm going to do.
Can you find that on
Well,
there?
I should be able
why
to do,
haven't
yeah.
why haven't you just got the paper copy?
Well, because I didn't bring a paper copy in.
Why not?
We're living in a modern world here. You don't always have to have... You see, there it is there. Look, there's page 1.
Let's have a look.
Well, I can get a free 1-week trial. I
Yeah.
think that's what I should do.
Now, do you are you telling me this because you think that they're going to scrap the printed edition and just go online?
Well, no, I'm not saying that. But
No.
what they said at the beginning was that they were not in any way, shape or form going to be online.
So why have they changed their mind? Do we know?
I don't know. Well, maybe because they're not selling as many copies as they'd like.
Yeah, I think that's probably the answer.
So here's what I've got. So I've got the whole thing here. So all I need to do is find the back page.
Okay.
And I'll be able to read you the bits that are of relevance
Okay.
to us.
What was the original reason for having this great stance? We won't be online. We're just in.
Well, because the idea
print.
was that it was a different sort of print version of
I
the paper,
see.
because print is dying, as we all know, as
Exactly.
more and more people get their information in different ways. And so they thought, rather than try and be just another paper out there that's online, try and be another paper on the website. We're not going to have a website, we're not going to have anything, but now it looks as if they are going to do that.
And is the website access free?
Well, they say I can get a free week's subscription. So that's what I'm going to do.
But after that, might charge you for it.
They'll charge me for it. Yeah. We shall check into that very soon.
Have you found the quiz on the back?
I haven't got it yet. I'm downloading it now. I'll have it ready for you in about 2 seconds.
That'll be excellent. Well done. I want to hear about that. Now, I'll tell you what. Did we mention the situation regarding Leicester and the Everton fans?
Yes, you did mention that.
I want to mention it again because it's great.
Why do you want to mention it again?
Well, because you see,
somebody's actually asked the question: if you had tickets for the last game of the season, Everton Leicester, would you give your tickets up?
Yes, I would.
Would you?
But I mean, it's a bit self-serving, really. The reason is, I'm delighted for Leicester and what they've done. Most of the country have Leicester now as their second team, so to speak. Between now and winning the Premier League.
What do you think being in Leicester
title
today is going to be like? Do you think lots of people are taking the day off? They're just sort of having a bit of a jamboree, a party.
They've called it Blue Day because
I know
obviously. Now, the funny thing is, because I live down on the coast, and I live near Portsmouth.
On the south coast, that is.
On the south coast.
When you say the coast, I mean, Britain is an island, so there's lots of coasts.
Yeah, in America, when you say, we're going to the coast, everybody knows it's the west coast.
Well, I suppose so,
Yes, they do. We're off to the coast. I mean, you don't call the east coast.
If they live on the east coast.
No, it's not.
If they live in LA and they say we're going to the coast, what do they say? What do they mean?
No, what I'm saying is, if we were in Costello's in New York and we say, he's gone off to the coast, he's gone to California.
Yeah.
So, but he hasn't gone to Long Island. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I don't know why the West Coast is accepted as coast. Anyway,
I think you started to absolute gibberish. Here's your personal listography for the day. List your 3 best birthdays.
3 best birthdays. What a rubbish question.
Well, give us your 3 best birthdays. Presumably that means for your 3 friends or for maybe the Queen's birthday. I don't know.
No,
Dylan Thomas's birthday?
No, it means during the course of your life, which 3 of your own birthdays do you most remember, doesn't it?
I don't know. Do you think it means that?
Yeah, I'm sure it does.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So what were your 3 best birthdays
Well,
then?
I don't celebrate it because it's between Christmas and New Year, and therefore I never get an opportunity to actually celebrate
you've never
it.
had a birthday party?
Well, I didn't have a 50th birthday party.
Didn't you?
Did
you have a 60th one?
I was in hospital strapped. It's irrelevant. I was in hospital strapped to a heart machine that was keeping me alive, so I didn't think it was fitting to ask the family to come.
Did you not have a 40th birthday?
And swig a few Chardonnays around my bed.
A 40th birthday party?
No, I didn't have a 40th.
How about
birthday.
30th?
30th? I can't remember having a 30th.
What about 21st?
I had a 21st.
Okay, so can we put one of those down? What did you do for your 21st birthday?
It was in a nightclub in Chester.
Oh, great.
In City Road.
Oh, lovely.
And the nightclub was run by a guy called Jeff Blythen, right?
Well, how can you remember all this?
No. And Jeff...
You can't remember that we already talked about the Everton-Leicester story, but you can remember the name of the guy that ran a nightclub in Chester when you were 21.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
And Jeff Blythen was permanently bladderated.
Was he?
Right, And so he said, little Mike, come on to my place. He says, you have your 21st there, invite many people as you want along. But, he failed to provide, the sandwiches.
No, so cake or anything?
Exactly,
sandwiches.
the cake and the food and all that, and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, it didn't matter. So it's a bit of a disaster.
What about when you were a child? Did you not have birthday parties when you were a child?
Well...
Because we know about the sad story of your childhood, don't we?
What was that?
That your 2 sisters kind of got all the attention and you were always the sort of extra wheel, the 5th wheel. No. Because when you go to a restaurant, it's very difficult to get a table for 5.
Well, I'm sure that's true.
It's a table for 4 only and you used to be perched on the end.
No.
When you used to go to the fun fair, they would sit in the cars with your parents in one car, them in another car. You'd be left standing watching them because you were the odd one out. Which explains an awful lot about how you are.
No, it's developed my my instincts as a gentleman, always to step back and allow other people to go first. It's as simple as that. Do you know what?
So you don't remember any of your children's birthday parties?
Well, to answer that question, if I have
only got one now, 21st birthday.
No, I didn't enjoy that.
You didn't enjoy it?
No, I didn't enjoy that, no.
All right.
I have never enjoyed a birthday party, ever.
Well, should we list your 3 worst birthdays instead? How about that?
Well, I can't remember them because I've never had a birthday party as far as I can recall.
Well, have you been to anybody else's birthday that you enjoyed?
Well, this is what I'm trying to remember. No, not really.
You're a miserable person.
Not really. I suppose, listen.
Totally miserable.
Hang on, I suppose my mum's...
What a terrible life you've had.
No, my mum's...
No wonder you're so grumpy.
My mum's 80th birthday party.
Your mum's 80th?
Terrific, because we're celebrating her getting to a great age, know, and she's still fit and healthy and looking great these days. Yeah. Thanks, Mum.
Right,
no problem.
So you're incapable of filling out 3 happy events in your life, in other words.
Well, I tell you what. My elder sister's 50th. That was good. That was good.
You don't have to give her age away.
No, well, obviously she's older than me. She's obviously had a 50th birthday party.
How much older than you?
Well, I can't get into that sort of detail, can I? Not going to. And
I think we better cut this short because.
And hang on, maybe
it's a car crash. It's tragic.
And hang on, my younger sister's 40th. How about that?
40th?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. How about that? Okay.
Thank you very much indeed.
That's pretty good, isn't it?
No, I'm really quite saddened by that.
Why?
It's pathetic.
Why? Well, have you ever been to a good birthday party?
In loads.
Rubbish.
Loads of them. I had a great 50th, I had a great 40th, I had a fantastic 30th in New York.
Hang
I had
on.
a wonderful 21st.
Hang on.
I had a great 18th party.
Excuse me.
What?
I wasn't invited to any of these.
No, you weren't.
Well,
why
why?
would you be?
I've known you for 30 years.
Yeah.
Why have I never been invited
they were
to
always
one
in
of
a
those?
different continent from where you were. That was why I always
that's
did it.
very convenient.
Anyway, look at the time because it's very, very late. Coming up, we're going to speak to Michael Bennett from the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's a defensive tackle, and he's going to tell us what happened in the NFL draft. This is Talk Sport. This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics. That song's actually more appropriate than you might think, particularly that line, I get high with a little help from my friends. We're talking about the NFL draft now, which is something that goes on, massive amounts of money spent over in the world of American football. And I'm delighted to say that we're joined by a man who is a great participant of it, Michael Bennett from the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm going to say it that way because obviously we say Jaguars, but Jaguar is the way you say it.
Yep.
Defensive tackle. Welcome to London.
Thank you.
Welcome to Talk Sport. Michael, you're a part of that team owned by the same owner as Fulham Football Club, of course.
Right.
Shard Khan. I don't know if you have much to do with him or if you see him around or anything. Have you been down to Fulham while you've been here?
I haven't been able to make it down to Fulham yet. I mean, I would like to, see what he's doing with that team, but I don't know if I have the time and the schedule while I'm here.
Yeah, you're only on a flying visit. And, of course, when we hear about the possibility of the NFL having a team based in London, which we hear about quite a lot through the kind of the regular season, Jacksonville are often the team that gets mentioned as maybe relocating here. How would you like that?
I think it would be cool. I think it would be difficult, because if you have one team in London, then they constantly have to fly over 8 hours to play other teams. But I think it'd be awesome to have a league in London.
Yeah.
And then you can have that league intermingling with the American league, and you can, every now and then fly a team over each way.
Right.
But yeah, one team based in London, I think it would be cool. We like to think that the Jaguars are London's team.
Sure. Because they're going to play a lot at Wembley, aren't they? I think they're going to be playing more games at Wembley.
3 games at Wembley for the next season.
Yeah, and then there's going to be 4. But Jacksonville have played more, I think, often at Wembley than anybody else, haven't they?
Yeah, our owner's really trying to create a presence in London, and we're playing the Colts this year at Wembley, which will be a really big game. That's a divisional opponent. That's kind of our rival.
Right.
So that'll be a really fun game.
What does Wembley compare like to your American stadiums?
I think last year it had 85,000 people in it, so it's a big stadium.
Facilities there and that sort of thing. I mean, are they the same sort of thing you get in America? Mike and I have been to some, classic sports stadiums in America. They're massive. Does Wembley come up to scratch?
I would say so. Yeah. I mean, like I said, it holds 85,000 people. The locker room was awesome.
Right.
So, every stadium in America is a little different, just like I'm sure here.
Sure.
But it's a really nice stadium.
Definitely. Michael, just to get down to the very basics, could you explain to our listeners, please, exactly what the draft is and the part that you've taken in it in your career?
All right, the draft is guys coming out of college, and teams are looking at them and looking them up and seeing what they can do, and they just decide whether you fit the mold and whether you can be on their team or not, and they pretty much tell you, hey, you're coming here.
It almost sounds like a slave market, if you see what I mean. You're all put up there. Let's go, this guy, how big is he? How strong is he? Is it like that?
It's a little weird when you first go through it because I remember in the process, like you have to stand up there in just your underwear and with this circle of people around, like get measured, get your height, your weight, your arm span, your hand width, all that stuff, and they're like really checking you out, see what you're made of.
And before the draft actually happens, you go through a series of kind of trials almost, don't you? You have to get, how fast can you run,
right?
How hard can you hit, and all that kind of
stuff.
stuff.
How much can you lift, all that stuff.
And also, it's about parity for the teams as well, isn't it? Because, often, we hear in this country, particularly with some of the top football teams, the more money you've got, the better players you can hire. But basically in the NFL, they try and make it even, don't they? Yeah,
you've got like salary caps and stuff, so every team only has so much money they're allowed to spend.
It's almost like fantasy football, really, isn't it? If you know what that is, that's where you make. It's a newspaper game in this country. You're given a set amount of money, £100 million, say, and you've got to put a team together. So you can pay $40 million if you want for your centre forward, but that means you can only pay 6 for your defender. Yeah?
Exactly. So you really have to decide, what's the most important position.
Now you were drafted last year, so you're relatively a rookie, I guess, in the first season of the NFL that you played in.
Yeah.
the thing that I always find amazing is that towards the end of the draft, because you get the first picks and the second picks, and I guess what you might call the big name players are going up there. But there seems to be times when some guys are just left in a room and they don't actually know if anyone's going to pick him. And it seems like that must be one of the worst feelings in the world, when you're kind of standing there wondering if you're actually going to get picked at all.
Yeah, that's what's kind of funny about the draft. They have all these mock drafts that come out throughout the year, and like, oh, this guy's going to go in the second round, or this guy's going to go here. You have no idea. The teams really have no idea until draft day. So you can be projected first round, and then you just keep dropping.
Right. And you're not just a footballer, are you? I mean, I'm reading here that you were a massive competitor in track and field. You threw 19.48 metres in the shot put. You were able to throw a discus 56.5 metres. I mean, did you ever have any thoughts of sort of following that path rather than going into football?
I would have loved to. I got more scholarship offers for football, and they're like full scholarships, while track, I don't think they offer too many full scholarships.
Right. Because we've got the Olympics coming up this year in Brazil, so I mean, you could have been going to Brazil.
Yeah,
for
I might dabble, see if I can jump onto a team real quick.
Yeah, well, I mean, there is a lot of crossover, isn't there? I mean, we've had a couple of football players from this side of the Atlantic go over and become kickers. There's a couple of rugby players trying their hand at it now. Have you come across any of those guys?
I know that there's a program. I don't know about England, but I know there's a program with Australia where they like actually look for rugby players to become kickers and punters and stuff like that in America. But yeah, I know that my background in track and field, that coaches really like that, because a lot of the big guys, if you can move in the ring, then they think you can move on the field.
Okay. Sure. And who were the big names that got drafted that we'll be looking at in the next coming season? That I mean, everybody talks about the quarterbacks, and I don't want to be rude, but those are the people we want to know about, right?
I'd say the big names. There are 5 of them: Joey Bosa, Ezekiel Elliott, Taylor Decker, Eli Apple, and Darren Lee.
Okay.
They were the big ones.
And who was the guy that fell down the draft quite a considerable way after somebody hacked into his Twitter account, and it turned out that he was there was a video of him then posted smoking something that he shouldn't have been smoking?
Yeah, I don't remember. Tinsley?
Tinsley sounds
Tinsley,
right. Yeah.
He's really high.
Well, basically, he was going to. Well, apparently, it's cost him personally millions of dollars, because he would have got paid. $30 million, if he got drafted up in the top 10 or the top 20, he would have got a lot more money.
I think he ended up getting picked up the 13th pick, but they said he was going to be like a top 3 pick. So I bet there's a good $6 million difference there.
Right.
So I mean, he's still making a lot of money, but that's got to be so frustrating for him to see something that he did years ago come back and just affect
college
him
or something like that.
Yeah,
irresponsible kid.
Yeah,
right.
Laramie Tunsil, I think his name
was.
Yeah.
And that's just got to hurt,
Yeah, sure.
Well, he's also, I mean, in this country, if something like that happened to you, you'd never shake it off. I mean, the fans would be chanting it all the time that you were playing.
Yeah.
And so I guess the other players will be kind of winding him up about that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Mike, can I ask you this? There's a big debate going on in rugby in this country. Rugby's the game most similar to American football, about concussion, head injuries, the way guys run into each other. Are you guys in America constantly amazed at how little protection rugby players in this country have compared to what American footballs have? And what is the state of the injury process going on in American football? Because as you guys get bigger, the likelihood of injury is going to increase every year, isn't it?
Yeah, and watching rugby is insane to me. Those guys, like you said, they're huge. They're running full speed at each other, no pads, no nothing. Like, you got to be tough to be able to do that. So I have a lot of respect for rugby players. But yeah, as you get bigger and the guys around you get bigger, you're going to get hurt. It's just important to take care of your body, and like, you can't go out drinking every night. You got to get your sleep, all that stuff.
Sure.
Or your body just breaks down.
Do you hear that? So that's a good piece of advice for you. You can't go out drinking every night. You've got to get some sleep. Don't eat a box of chocolates. That kind of thing.
No, my American football days are behind me.
Are they?
I'm in relaxo mood now.
He used to be a mascot. That's the size he is.
That's very nice, isn't
Michael, thank you so much for coming in. Is it over now? Is there still going to be some action over in the draft sort of over the coming days and weeks as people get picked up, after the draft's over, as it were?
So the draft actually lasts 3 days.
Okay.
So we've got a couple more rounds today, and then a couple rounds on Saturday.
Okay.
And then after that, the guys will start filtering into their teams and starting to get acclimated with their new team.
Okay. Great. So, well, as I say, we'll be looking out for you in the new season, and
we'll
see you at Wembley when you're back. Michael Bennett from the Jacksonville Jaguars, defensive tackle. This is Talk Sport. the two mics. This is Talk Sport. Coming up, of course, we're going to have clips of the week, slightly different version. Instead of having anybody else on it, Porky has got his dream come true because it's clips of the week just about him.
What do you mean dream come true?
Well, because it's the sort of thing you would do.
Why did you say that insulting sort of thing to me?
You've ordered it,
I did not order it.
Yes,
I didn't know it's happening
because
until I walked in.
You're a man who is completely and utterly obsessed with his own ego.
No, not at all. I mean, I was very honoured, obviously, and I thought, what a tribute that is. And I thought, wow, it's fantastic. It doesn't happen to many people that to get your own clips of the week. But I didn't ask for it. I didn't ask for it. Somebody else recognised it.
Okay, well, we'll be hearing that a little bit later on. Have you noticed all the papers have started to go a bit bonkers over the whole Leicester story? I'm looking at the Daily Star here in particular, and they seem to have... Oh, Daily Express, sorry. They've got an interview with Richard III.
I know, it's amazing.
I mean, they've actually done an interview with Richard III,
well,
which, of course, we all know couldn't be possible.
No, because, of course, he's buried. He was buried under a car park in Leicester, but it's a very close connection. That's where he spent his...
Here's how it starts. Thank you for granting this rare interview, sir. And then Richard III answers, the pleasure is all mine, Venerable Quillman.
Yeah,
I think it's taking things a bit far.
I think it's taking things a bit far. What is, in reality, and I suppose we'll be getting down to this next week, is that over in Thailand, in Bangkok, that is in Thailand, isn't it? Yeah,
it certainly is.
Yeah, they've all gone Leicester mad.
Yeah.
Buddhist monk fans and Vardy selling handbags. Thailand has fallen for the Leicester fairy tale.
Yeah.
So that's brilliant. I mean, this has become a worldwide phenomenon.
Well, I mean, we were reading, all over the course of the last few weeks, we've been reading stories from places like Japan, where people have stopped supporting Manchester United and they've started supporting Leicester. So, I mean, it's great for the Premier League as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah. I mean, these people in Bangkok walking around in Leicester shirts, if you'd walked around in a Leicester shirt in Bangkok this time last year, you'd probably got arrested because, people would have thought you were so odd. But they're going to be one of the most famous teams in the world.
I don't think you get arrested for being odd in Bangkok.
No, you're probably right.
Yeah.
Now, listen, a few weeks ago I talked to you about the effect using your phone when you're out walking your dog.
That's true, yes.
Does the dog's head in?
By the way, there was an awful lot of people who were not in favour of our dog-hugging person the other day, who basically said, loads of people posted pictures last night of them hugging their dogs saying, we don't believe a word this guy has to say.
Good.
So I think we won that one.
Yeah, I think we won that one because, I observe very, very close relationship you have with your dog and with your children. Yes, because I think it's important.
From how far you observe it?
Well, you can drive your dog mad by taking it out for a walk, but then spending all your time on your phone.
Yeah, but I don't do that.
So if I ring you, right, and you're out on the old Sussex Downs or something, or on the beach, what's the beach you go to?
Well, I go down to the beach sometimes at Bexhill.
Yeah, Bexhill and all that kind of stuff.
Sometimes Norman's Bay.
Yeah,
I was in Norman's Bay. Do you know why it's called Norman's Bay?
Would that be something to do with the Normans landing?
Very good.
Yeah, thank
you.
you.
Well done.
Yeah,
that's exactly where they landed.
That was near the Battle of Hastings, obviously. Yeah,
very close.
Now, what I was going to say is, you should say to me immediately, look, I can't speak to you with the dog, and I would immediately ring off, right?
No, I don't know. What I say
because it can drive your dog mad.
No, what I do when you ring me at the weekends is I just ignore it. If I see that you're ringing me, I just don't answer it.
Well, I'm never going to ring you again then.
Good.
If you have that dismissive and trite attitude.
Well, that's
anyway,
good.
The point is, what you need to know is this: parents who are using their phone when their kids are around are also very, very badly corrupting the personality of your children around you.
That's not about being on the phone as such, is it? It's about using it to look up Twitter or Facebook and all that kind of stuff.
It's paying attention to their phone.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily talking in it. Talking in it's not so bad because then the child knows that you're actually doing something productive.
Yeah.
What the child can't work out. What the child can't work out is what you're doing, looking at it all the time, playing with it, and all that kind of stuff.
Well, whenever they see me talking to you, they wonder what I'm doing because all I'm doing actually is standing out in the garden, holding a phone to my ear and not saying anything.
That's because I'm
because all you're doing is jabbering on.
No, I'm informing.
I'm not giving me a chance to say anything back.
I'm informing you. Now listen to this.
Right.
A study in one of the journals that I've been looking at. It's
a journal of Parenting Today or something.
Yes, it's something like that. It says
it's not really an area of expertise for you, is it?
Well, it's something that I nevertheless have a handle on.
I mean, you were ignored a lot as a child.
What?
You were ignored a lot as a child, I presume.
No, I wasn't.
Yeah, you were.
Why?
Well, you always told me that your parents didn't pay much attention to you.
What do you mean?
Your sister's got all the attention. That's what you told me.
No, I didn't.
They hardly. Well, didn't you sleep down in the under the stairs or something?
No, that's rubbish.
You did.
No, it's
like
rubbish.
Some kind of Harry Potter-esque scenario.
No. The thing is, there were 5 in my family.
Yeah.
So the nuclear family is mum, dad, and 2 children.
That's right.
So
and why you've always felt as the odd man out.
So
we talked about this.
So our nuclear family was mum, who's a woman, dad, who's a man.
Well, you'd hope so, mostly. Yeah, in your case.
Elder sister, who's a girl.
Yeah.
and old Porky here, a boy. That was a nuclear family.
Yeah.
And then my little sister came along, very happily, you know.
But you got sort of bumped to
the
the
love
end of the
my
log,
life,
didn't you?
And suddenly there were 5 of us.
Yeah.
As a gentleman, I always took the backward step and said, no, you 4 sit down at the table and I'll have the stool. Or you 4 get into the fairground ride and I'll just stand on the edge and watch and, you know, weep as, you know, I'm left out again and all that kind of stuff. But it didn't bother me. But anyway, look, what it says here is, parents who tried to... hang on, what is this?
What is it?
Right.
I've just sent out a picture, by the way, of ourselves with Michael Bennett, as he said, the
excellent.
3 mics.
Yeah.
And I must say, it's always very nice to, and the caption says it makes me look quite petite. It's always nice to have a guy that's so big that it makes you feel quite small.
Yes.
What do you think?
Well, he is a huge guy. I mean, not so much tall, but certainly very broad across.
Leon has tweeted in, he says, Porky looks like he's been blown up with a foot pump.
What kind of a ridiculous comment is that?
Well, he do look like he'd been blown up with a foot pump.
Oh, yeah, why is that then?
Well, just look at the picture.
What, and you
see.
don't? And you don't
No, I
look
don't,
like
no.
you're blown up with a foot pump?
No, I look quite slim next to you. You're about
Show me
twice
that
the size.
picture.
You're about twice the size of me.
Let me have a look.
And you're wearing that ridiculous oversized shirt.
Utter rubbish.
Which you claim is a Van Hoosen.
It is a Van Hoosen.
Yeah.
What's a nonsense, honestly, I don't know.
It looks more like a tent.
It doesn't look like a tent at all. Now then, I've got some information here from Dr. Chen Yu.
Chen Yu.
Yeah, and he said the ability of children to sustain attention is known as a strong indicator for later success in areas such as language acquisition, problem solving.
Why are you shouting?
I'm just making my point.
Yeah.
And other key cognitive development milestones.
Cognitive.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Caregivers who appear distracted. This is what it's all about.
I
This is
agree.
getting
I
good.
have to say, I agree totally with what you're saying.
Caregivers who appear distracted or whose eyes wander a lot while their children play appear to negatively impact infants' burgeoning attention spans during key stages of their youthful development.
Yeah, well, I mean, I have to say it's the same when you go out to a restaurant and you see a couple sitting there and they're both on their phones and not talking to each other.
Yeah.
You think, well, why have you bothered going out for dinner?
Well,
what is the point of that?
Actually, years ago, before phones became so, you know, I don't know, so familiar to everybody.
What?
You know, when you used to go into a restaurant years ago, you go and your girlfriend and, you know, you're all over each other because you were, you know, young love
All
and
over
all that
each
kind
other?
of stuff. Yeah.
How long ago are you talking about?
Oh, you know.
Talking about last century.
No, that's about last century. But you could always tell who the married couples were because they literally stared.
They weren't speaking to each other.
They stared in different directions. Yeah. And the only person they spoke to was the waiter. And all they said was thank you.
Yeah.
And then he came, collected the plate, thank you.
Yeah.
They never spoke to each other.
No.
I mean, it's appalling to see people like that.
I know.
I was in a restaurant once and I
With
saw
somebody else's wife, presumably.
I think it was actually at the time. Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, no, seriously. And the couple on the next table, it's an amazing row.
Did you never think you might be discovered?
Because, no.
Why not?
I was clever.
Really?
Yes, definitely.
First time for everything.
Yeah, and they had this amazing
These are time, by the way.
because he bought himself a new pair of trainers for £125.
Who had?
The guy who was sitting at the table. It's the
right.
only thing they spoke about. And she said it was a disgrace because one of their children needed a new bike or something.
Right.
And it was a most enormous row. They started smashing bottles and everything. It was amazing. That's the only time.
places do you go to?
I've seen it was a very good restaurant.
Was it?
It was a good restaurant.
Shocking.
Yeah.
Terrible story. Anyway, lots more to come,
Okay.
including, of course, in the next hour, Jeff Peters is
Okay.
going to preview Birmingham against Middlesbrough, and also his own Leicester playing Manchester United on
Okay.
Sunday live on Talk Sport. It was only a few days ago you were singing the theme to James Bond, weren't you?
Yes.
Because you were saying you'd never heard of Moby, but I don't think anybody's likening you to James Bond looking at the pictures of us with our visitor from the NFL.
What do you keep going on about that for?
Well, because we sent a picture out,
Yes.
and so we're getting some reactions
Yes,
to
all
it,
right.
right?
Yeah, okay, we've had the reactions,
Here's one
thank you.
from TMU, says, looks like that picture was taken the moment Porky was saved from the locked room in Newcastle.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yes.
And Spurs, Spurs says, perhaps Porky needs to think that only 1/3 of his stomach should work, because you do look very large in this picture.
I
have to
do
say.
not. It was the angle from which it was taken.
Makes
and
Porky look very rotund, says Guillermo.
rubbish.
Hashtag size X.
I don't stand there trying to, draw my stomach in to make myself look attractive to women. I don't have to do that. So that's why, I look like a perfectly natural person.
I see. And somebody's asking if they can borrow your shirt for a garden party this weekend. Put up as a tent.
Oh, I'm so, I find that so funny. I'm falling over laughing.
I can see that.
Now then, there's one here. It says, I imagine the King's School Chester haven't got Porky on their notable alumni, going by the quiz result.
Alumni?
Best advert, yeah.
Do you mean alumni?
Alumni, yeah.
I thought you were on their list, weren't you?
I am. There's a picture of me there. I'm star man.
You're not the
Don't worry
star
about
man,
that.
because there were quite a few famous people that went there, weren't there?
Well, I'll tell you who comes from Chester.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, the music you've just played, Daniel Craig.
Daniel Craig.
Did
he go to your King's School Chester school then?
No, he wasn't bright enough.
He wasn't bright enough?
No, he
Are you
wasn't.
sure?
No. Yeah, certainly.
So where did he go?
Not sure, really. But it wasn't mine. It wasn't my...
Well, he's a lot younger than you as well.
He's a bit younger than me.
Do you like Daniel Craig? He's not doing it anymore, is he?
He made that comment about, I'd rather crawl over broken glass and do another Bond. But they all say that, don't they, to get another 30 million. Now, what I was going to say to you is...
No, I don't think he does want to do another one, though. I think that's quite clear.
OK, well, that's up to him. I thought the most miserable one was that guy who did the one...
Timothy Dalton.
Yeah. What a miserable attitude he had
Well,
to...
he just wasn't the greatest James Bond, really.
Well, afterwards, he said, it was pathetic. It was all full of sexism. And well, that's what James Bond's all about, man. You know, should have put your heart into
well, not
it.
in this day and age, it's not supposed to be. That's the whole point of how they've turned it around. They've turned Daniel Craig's James Bond into a guy who's a little bit of a dinosaur, who's having to kind of come to terms with the modern world.
Nevertheless, Daniel Craig has his fair share of liaisons with the opposite sex. He still drinks the old martinis, shaken not stirred. But anyway, look, one of the things that reminded me of is this. I've seen some complaints on these websites of people who are almost permanent sort of TV viewers, that there's too many James Bond films on the telly.
They seem to be on an awful lot at the moment. Every weekend, if I just sort of happen to be flicking through something in Saturday, Sunday afternoon, there's always a James Bond film on.
Yeah, listen to this. One guy's done a survey going back 6 months. In the last 6 months, 170 hours of James Bond repeats.
170 hours?
Yeah, in this week alone, so that's since last Sunday to today, there have been 5 007 films.
Right.
8 James Bond films have been shown no less than 4 times in the last 6 months. And Quantum of Solace has been shown once a month in the last 6 months.
They must be making a lot of money out of that then.
Well, I don't know. And 69 Bond films have been listed in the schedules over the last 6 months. Well, I don't get this. I mean, I don't know how TV revenues work.
You love James Bond. You should be happy about that, shouldn't you?
I do quite like it, but in fact, funny enough, what was I watching on Thursday? What day is it today?
I
Friday.
don't know. Today's Friday.
I think it's Wednesday night.
Wednesday night.
I saw
what were you watching?
Goldfinger.
Why?
I love the start of Goldfinger.
Yeah.
Because
have you ever actually seen the end of any films?
Oh, yes, yeah.
Have you?
All the films, yeah.
Because you once described your favourite film, which is Top Gun.
Yes.
Right, and you got the ending completely wrong.
No, I didn't. They were around the swimming pool, and Val Kilmer has just been given the Top Gun award. And
well, all I know is that I'm not an expert in Top Gun. All I know is that everybody said afterwards that when they tweeted in, basically said that you got the whole storyline completely and utterly wrong. I
think I did. Look, what I was going to say is I am starting to get. I have to admit, maybe it's because we're of a certain age. A bit of James Bond weariness.
Well, you're quite a bit older than I am.
Well, no, that's irrelevant. I mean, the point is, my favourite Bond film used to be Thunderball.
Yeah.
No, not Thunderball, sorry, Goldfinger.
Yeah.
But I was seeing it so many times.
Yeah.
There's still great parts of it. Him and Pussy Galore in the stable and all that. Well, they're magnetic. The start of a James
Spectre yet, by the way?
No.
Why not?
Because I'll tell you why. I'll tell you exactly why.
You were
right?
supposed to be going to some opening of it, weren't you? Ramshackle kind of Surrey cinema.
Excuse me.
Yeah, you said you were invited to some sort of jumped-up bourgeois premiere
in Red Hill.
Red Hill,
and it was
the well-known hotbed of sort of Hollywood film stars.
It was a dinner jacket thing with cocktails before in the bar and all that kind of stuff.
Why were you invited?
Well, I was invited because I'm a regular patron, and
you said you never went to the cinema.
Well, I don't a lot, but I used to.
No.
It's that sort of thing. By the way, when we get to Cardiff, I might be able to get you upgraded in your hotel because I have got to get rid of something like 100,000 holiday travel points before they run out in July.
All right.
So
that's very kind of
if
you.
I can get rid of any other way and not make your life better, I will. But if it comes to ditching them or having to grit my teeth and allow you a suite, then I might even just give you a
it's a bit of a waste of money having a suite, to be honest. But if you wish to do so, I'd be more than happy.
Now, what I was going to say is, right, the start of the James Bond films are magnetic because it's all about something great happening. And, well, it starts off with him walking up to that sort of, that eye.
Which film are you talking about?
Any film. Oh. And then he turns, kneels down, and fires his gun.
He doesn't
Bang.
kneel, does he?
He does. Yeah, he
I
does.
don't think he kneels in every one.
He does. Well, certainly when I saw Thunderball the other night. Oh, by the way, I hated the early James Bond films when Sean Connery wore a pork pie hat.
Yeah.
Why would he wear a pork pie hat?
That was very fashionable at the
Yeah,
time.
it makes him look middle-aged, that was no good. Anyway, the point of my story is... What is
What is the point of your story? Have you had any sleep at all?
Hey? Oh, yeah, Spectre. So I'll tell you exactly what happened, right?
Yeah.
I was in a well-known supermarket chain, and I spotted...
You spotted someone?
Spectre, DVD,
Yeah.
white cover,
Yeah.
picture of Daniel Craig on the front, £7.
Right. So did you buy it?
Well, this is the point. I didn't have time to buy it.
Why didn't you have time
I was
to buy
already in the queue to just about to pay
if
for
you
my
saw
stuff.
it, presumably it was in the place where you were queuing.
No. Where I was queuing, I was next up on the old conveyor belt, okay? And then I glanced over, and it was sort of like two tills away, if you see what I mean.
Well, couldn't you have quickly dashed over there?
Well,
or asked the person behind the till to get someone to get it for you?
Look,
why didn't you do that?
All of that. But I was busy and I had to get through and I had to get out, okay?
Busy? Rubbish.
And I knew that I wouldn't
What
be
were
able
you
to...
buying then?
I was buying essential things.
Like what?
Swiss roll and all this kind of
Swiss
stuff.
roll?
Yeah, but anyway...
Essential Swiss roll?
Anyway, listen, just hear me out. And I wasn't going to be able to watch it that night.
Right.
We were probably working or something like
time,
that.
by the way.
Yeah, hang on, this is important. So, do you know what I
What is
did?
an essential Swiss roll?
Well, let me tell you. So I went back the next day.
Yeah.
Right, specifically to get it. Guess
Right.
what?
Guess what? It wasn't on sale anymore.
It had gone up to £10.
Really? So you didn't buy it?
I refused to.
This is the same guy that spent £54 on 4 bottles of wine in a Soho hostelry.
I refused.
You wouldn't pay 10 quid for a DVD?
No, I wouldn't. No.
We've got a DVD out, costs 10 quid. It's not a very good advert for it, is it?
Well, no, the thing is, ours is quality and it's entertainment.
Unlike James Bond.
Yeah, but it's been in the cinemas.
35 million
It's been in the cinemas. So anyway.
Yeah, but you haven't seen it in the cinema.
What?
You haven't seen it?
No, I haven't, no. So anyway, I didn't know it was 10 quid until I got...
How long is this story?
Hang on. I get to the checkout,
Yeah.
and the very nice lady on checkout, she puts it through, and she says, that's £10, please. I said, no. I said, it's not, it's 7. She said, no, sir, it says... I said, no, check it out. Honestly, you've got it wrong. Your machine's wrong.
Did you only have 7 quid on you?
No. I had loads of money on me. I always have loads of money on me.
Yeah, you always carry 500 quid around with you, don't you?
Well, well, unless I've spent a couple of hundred,
Yeah.
it's down to 300 or something. So anyway, the manager comes along and I
It's an
said,
advert for somebody to rob you, that.
yeah, well, I suppose it would be, but I keep it in my
I
secret
think have you seen the time?
money belt. Anyway, so I said this was £7. He said, no, it's £10. I said, well, it was £7 yesterday, so on special offer. I said, when the next special offer? He said, I can't tell you that, sir, so I refused to buy it. So I haven't seen
What a
Spectre.
complete plank.
No,
All right,
no,
here's this
that's,
from Alan.
that's
He
called
says,
principle.
It isn't an eye at the start of the Bond film credits, Porky, you idiot. It's the rifling of a gun barrel that then shoots.
Yeah,
So it's
but
not an eye.
Hang on, it is the eye because the red blood then streams down as though you've been shot in the
That's
eye.
because somebody's been shot. It's
Well,
nothing
that's
to do
what
with
I'm
an eye.
saying. Of course it's an eye.
No, Shot in the Eye is The Godfather. That's a different film.
No. You know what you're
Mo
talking
Green.
about. Nah.
This is Talk Sport. This is TalkSport. We are at the Two Mics. We're here all next week as well. For some people, that is going to be quite a remarkable journey as well because they're all commenting on your essential shopping trip.
Oh, yes.
Paul says this, just out doing the weekly grocery shop, essentials only, toilet roll, milk, bread, Swiss roll.
Yeah, well, no, I mean,
Dean says,
yeah,
Porky's lurking around the co-op waiting to pounce on discounted sausage rolls and running a 43 grand Mercedes equals sacrifice.
Dear me.
Cyrus says, Mike Parry had a pork pie hat, but he ate it. And David says, careful, Porky, you don't catch that tent of yours in the conveyor belt next time you're getting your Swiss rolls.
Yeah, that's very, I think that's very
And Peter
cruel.
helpfully points out the DVD's £7, the Blu-ray is £10. So maybe you were trying to buy the Blu-ray.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so you might have made a mistake there. You know the
dear
difference
me.
between a DVD and a Blu-ray, don't you?
Yeah, they're different machines, aren't they?
Well, no. You need you can play a DVD on a Blu-ray machine, but not the other way around.
Right, that's right, yeah, I knew that.
I don't know whether you've got a Blu-ray player, have you?
What?
Have you got a Blu-ray player?
No.
It's the sort of thing you would have.
No, I
'Cause
haven't
you like
got one.
things that are blue, don't you?
No, I haven't got one. Yeah, well, I do, actually, but I haven't got one.
All right, maybe you should get one.
Hammy says we need to know more about the Swiss roll. There's nothing more to know about the Swiss roll. And then Matthew has posted a picture of a Swiss roll, but it's a cream and strawberry one.
Oh, they're different kinds. I thought a Swiss roll was basically just rolled up jam and sponge.
No, mine's chocolate Swiss roll.
Oh, it's chocolate.
Chocolate with the white cream in the middle. I love it. I can eat a whole Swiss roll at one sitting. No, you know, all you do is you undo the cellophane.
Dr. Banner know about this?
No, I don't think he does actually. You open the cellophane, right, and I just start munching it, and
Well, you don't even slice it.
no. I can just no.
That's horrendous.
No, honestly.
You should take a picture of yourself doing that.
No, I wouldn't know because. But I mean, it's only when I sort of lose control.
Yeah.
If you see what I mean, and you can't sort of stop. It's very Moorish, I have to say.
I think you're addicted to chocolate.
Well, I do like. I have got a sweet tooth. That is very
There's
true.
no doubt about that. Now,
Yeah.
the Premier League is back this weekend, of course. TalkSport's got 3 live Premier League games, live commentary on
Have we
Saturday.
3? That's incredible.
Arsenal against Norwich. You got Swansea, Liverpool, and then of course the big one, Manchester United against Leicester, which is a 2:05 kickoff on Sunday afternoon. Now, this would be a good time, I would think, for us to do our Selco predictor scenario.
Sure.
You're now just above relegation level. I think you're about 4th from bottom. Last time I checked in the TalkSport Presenters
But not
League.
in the zone.
Not quite in the zone, no.
Good.
I think you might be safe from relegation.
Right.
But the first game up is a 3 o'clock kickoff, Watford against Aston Villa.
Yeah.
What do you mean, yeah?
No, I'm just sorry. I wonder why that's first up when I haven't got that first up on my... oh, yes, I have. No, I
What do
haven't.
you mean you haven't got it first up?
Well, I've got Everton Bournemouth first up on mine, you see.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, but anyway,
I've
we'll
got
do
that second.
We'll do Watford Aston Villa. That will be Watford 3, Aston Villa 0.
Yeah, I've got Watford 1, Aston Villa 0.
Right.
Everton against Bournemouth. They played Bournemouth a lot this year, haven't they?
They have, played him once in the Cup, obviously, and twice in the league. I've got to believe that Everton are going to pull something out the bag. Mr. Martinez, absolutely no doubt now, must be feeling the pressure of discontent. So I'm going to say Everton will pull it out the bag. Everton 3, Bournemouth 1.
I'm saying Everton 1, Bournemouth 2. Because they're with a few injuries, haven't they? Because Jagielka's not playing for a start.
No, it's true.
Because he injured himself rather unwisely playing in that game last week. Newcastle against Crystal Palace. This is one we were talking to Mickey Quinn about.
Yeah, it's an intriguing game, this, and, Big Sam's tried to really play the mind games here.
Put the mockers on it.
I think Crystal Palace now through to the final, and I think that's all their players really care about. I'm going to say Newcastle 2, Crystal Palace 0.
Yeah, I'm saying Newcastle 3, Crystal Palace 1.
Okay.
Stoke against Sunderland.
Yeah, Stoke
Sunderland.
Sunderland.
A massive game for Sam Allardyce.
I think that Sunderland will win this. Stoke 1, Sunderland 3.
I think it'll be another draw. I'm going to go 2-2.
Okay.
Because, Stoke have had a terrible time of it lately, and they're going to have to do something about that.
Okay.
They're going to have to at least try and win a game.
Yeah.
West Bromwich Albion against West Ham.
Yeah, you've got to believe that West Ham will continue right to the end of the season, scoring these away victories. West Brom 1, West Ham 2.
Yeah, I'm going to do exactly the same.
Okay.
Arsenal against Norwich. Now, this is a game that you would expect Arsenal to win.
Yes.
However, Norwich need to win to
Yes.
try and get themselves into some kind of safety position, don't they?
Yeah, I agree. And I think this might be a Spurs-West Brom scenario. I'm going to say 1-1.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's not a bad shout, actually. I'm going to say 2-0 to Arsenal,
Okay.
I think, because I think they'll just be too good, unfortunately, for Norwich.
Yeah.
Swansea against Liverpool,
Yeah.
which is a midday kick-off, and that's live right here on TalkSport,
Yeah, Swansea-
as is Arsenal-Norwich.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Swansea safe now, although I haven't had a great season, obviously, like a lot of clubs. Liverpool are on a roll.
And the manager, presumably, he knows that he's not probably going to be there next season.
Yeah, I think he does. I think you're right. Swansea 1, Liverpool 3.
I'm going Swansea 1, Liverpool 2. And then the big one, of course, Manchester United against Leicester. This is where Leicester, if they win, win the title.
That's right, yeah. Intriguing.
Without Jamie Vardy.
Yes, that's right. Intriguing.
Didn't miss him last week.
I'm going to say this is going to be a draw. I'm going to say Manchester United 2, Leicester 2.
I think it's going to be a bit of a thriller, this. I'm going to say Manchester United 2, Leicester 3.
Oh, that's good.
Which says that they're then going to win it. Southampton against Manchester City on Sunday.
Yes, Southampton 1.
It's 4:30.
Southampton 1, Manchester City 2.
Yeah, I think this one might be another draw. Manchester City are not very good away from home, are they? I'm going to say 1-1. And then finally on Monday,
Yes.
the big one, Chelsea against Spurs.
Yeah.
Without Dele Alli, of course.
Yeah, without Dele Alli. Do you know what? I admire everything Spurs have done this season, but I just think it'll be one of those results because it's a London derby and Chelsea have got to try and fathom something at the end of the season. Chelsea...
Well, the players are also not going to show themselves to the new manager in some way, shape or form.
Chelsea 2, Tottenham 1.
Yeah, I've got that as well.
Right.
So now you're going to have to put your chips down
Yes,
as well. So
yes.
the one result that you think is the most likely.
Most likely one for me is Watford and Aston Villa.
See, that's the trouble now. Everybody just picks every Aston Villa game. It's the
exactly.
most likely one that everybody's going to get right because they're going to lose, right?
So is that on the dollar or the locking side?
That's on the dollar, yes.
On the dollar, right, got that.
And then on your locking sign, that's the one that you're least sure about.
Yes. least sure about Chelsea and Tottenham, so that's on the locking sign.
I'm going to go Newcastle Crystal Palace, actually.
Okay.
And then I'm going to submit. But you see, now what happens for those people who can't see what we're doing, which is pretty much everyone, apart from us, I submit my predictions electronically.
Yes.
But you now hand yourself your piece of paper to me.
Yes.
So that I can fill out your predictions and submit them electronically.
Why shouldn't I?
Because you haven't figured out how to do it.
It's not that I haven't figured out how to do it. It's just that I believe, a bit of old-fashioned type of kind of attention to detail is fine.
But it's good because it means you trust me to actually put them in the way that you predicted them. Although, to be honest, you probably do better if I make them up for you.
I probably would.
Yeah.
Anyway, there you go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I've already had a message from a very good friend of ours.
Oh, yeah.
Associated with Crystal Palace Football Club.
Oh, yeah.
Who tells me, I can't believe my two old mates, the two Mikes, are both backed against the Palace on Saturday. And he predicts... That's terrible. And he says it'll be 3-1 to the Palace.
Yeah.
So...
Well, it could be. If he feels as though we've done him a bad service, what we can say is I've said that it's my but the one I'm least confident in.
Yeah.
Because Crystal Palace might reverberate back on Sam Allardyce and say, actually, we haven't been on the pop all week, and we're very happy to continue with our winning streak.
I can remember, because my club has had a glorious past, that seriously, those few games between winning a semi-final and getting to the final of the FA Cup, teams definitely go into relaxed mode. They just definitely do.
Yeah.
Because the players don't want to be injured for the FA Cup final. And I'm not saying they consciously stop trying. There's an attitude
this is what I mean.
it.
But isn't the other side of that what Everton are now going through, and maybe even Arsenal to an extent? If you're not in anything, you're not playing for anything anymore. Aren't you more likely to be kind of less interested then?
Well, I think there is on the beach type attitude there. I totally agree. But we've had a bum season, last 3 games to go, and all that. They just lose heart and all that. But for Palace, the players are only looking at one thing, and that's playing in the FA Cup final. And they're not going to get relegated, that's for sure. We all know that. They've got a huge day coming up.
They're too far away, aren't they?
Of course they are. Nobody, one pass will play a go. So I have to say to our pal, should we tell people his Christian name?
No, I don't think you need to give his name out.
Okay.
You're obsessed with giving out people's names.
No, that we certainly don't feel any ill will towards Palace. It's just situations. It is. Believe me, Chris, I just think that...
the game does mean more to Newcastle, no question.
Well, I think Newcastle are going to be so manic in trying to win it, and I think Palace, quite rightly, have only got one game really to concentrate on. Now it's the FA Cup final. A friend of mine is going to work at Crystal Palace next season as well.
Is that right?
Yes, indeed.
Well, don't give that name away.
No, I definitely won't. No.
That would be very helpful. Thank you very much indeed. We'll be talking to Jeff Peters about Leicester coming up a little bit later on in the hour. Coming up next, though, we're going to talk to a vicar who's got himself in a bit of trouble over the life of Brian. This is
yes.
Talk Sport.
Always look on the bright side of life. Always look on the light side of life. If life seems jolly rotten, there's something you've forgotten, and that's to laugh and smile and dance and sing. When you're feeling in the dumps, don't be silly chumps. Just purse your lips and whistle, that's the thing.
Now, I don't know if you're a fan of Monty Python, are you? I'm not surprised.
Oh, yes, I am, yeah.
Oh, are you?
Yes.
And you've seen The Life of Brian, presumably?
Well, I'm more of a fan of the films they made. Life of Brian, what was the other one?
Life of Brian is a film.
I know that, you idiot. Life of Brian, what was the other one they made?
Well, they made a few films. They made sort of film versions of their sketches and things like that.
Yeah, but Life of Brian...
Meaning of Life.
Meaning of Life, that was the one. Meaning of Life and Life of Brian, that was great.
Yeah.
I was a fan of Monty Python's, but a lot of it, because I was a kid in those days, was intellectually above my head and couldn't quite understand it.
No, it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, but anyway, there we are.
Well, now there's a vicar in a part of this country who's got himself in a terrible muddle, though. Because he decided that he wanted to raise some money for the church, right? And he decided what he would do, and he's with the All Saints Church in Leamington Spa. He decided the best way to raise some money was to show a screening of The Life of Brian inside his church. The only problem is, right, you might remember this when it first came out. There were some Christian groups who said it was blasphemous, that it made fun of Jesus, that it made fun of God, and that it was by no means something that Christian people should actually watch and embrace.
Sure, I remember all that.
And, well, do you know what? We've got the guy himself to talk to now, Christopher Wilson. Father Christopher Wilson.
The Reverend?
Well, he's being called Father Christopher Wilson.
Right,
it may well be the Reverend. We'll
All
have
Saints
to check
Church,
with him. But he's with All Saints Church in Leamington Spa. Is it Father Christopher Wilson or is it the Reverend Christopher Wilson?
It's either, it's whatever you like, or as some people call me, a very naughty boy.
Yes,
Oh,
well,
right,
indeed.
excellent.
Well, thank you very much for joining us. We'll call you Christopher then, just to make it easier, I suppose.
Christopher is fine, thank you.
Has
And
it become? Has this become some kind of sort
Cause
of
célèbre?
célèbre? Because you got yourself into all the national newspapers by doing something which most people would think was fairly normal, but others have said was rather blasphemous and outrageous.
Okay, I don't think we're in a muddle at all. Blasphemy and outrage, I think we need to think about pretty carefully. Look, I think the church got it wrong a generation ago when the film came out. Yes, the culture was different. Yes, it was shocking at the time. The real blasphemy that was going on was actually the exploitation of children, and that was not addressed until relatively recently.
Right.
That's the sort of thing that we should be outraged about. A very highly respected theologian was reported in the Telegraph at the end of 2013 saying the film is actually a remarkable tribute to the life of Jesus. And certainly for myself and many of my colleagues, clergy and lay people, we think it's actually a film with a lot to teach us.
Now, you're also staging something called Music You Don't Normally Hear on a Church Organ. What does that entail?
Well, what it means is that alongside the film, there will be some live music, and the church organ will be used to play that.
What sort of music, though? Because presumably it won't be hymn-type music, right?
It won't be hymn-type music, no. It will be music that links in with the Monty Python theme.
Right.
Oh, I see.
We're looking to encourage people to come in through the doors of the church, to use it once more as the hub of the community. We're quite good at doing sort of middle-class things like concerts, exhibitions, that sort of thing. What we're trying to do is to say to a wider part of the community, come along, this is your parish church, come and have a good evening, enjoy yourselves with us. Of course, our hope is that some people might be inspired to pick up a Bible, to read about the life of Jesus himself. It's nothing like the life of Brian, but, you know, just come and enjoy it.
Sure. And how is the resistance movement going, Chris? Have you won over the doubters? I thought we were going to call
Christopher, we were going to call him.
Okay,
Chris.
Yeah. Christopher.
I'll call you Holy Father,
the
actually.
The movement is pretty weak, actually.
Right.
The outrage reported within the church, well, we haven't had any sign of it yet. I'm not quite sure where that came from.
Well, there's a guy quoted in the Telegraph called John Ascott,
Exactly.
45, which says, why on earth would a church be an appropriate venue to show an essentially anti-Christian film that is offensive to the Christian faith? I don't know whether he's one of your regulars.
He's not one of my regulars, as far as I'm aware. I haven't found anybody yet who knows who he is. But he's very welcome to come and join us if he would like to, because we accommodate people with different views and respect people for the views they hold.
Yeah. Could it be, Christopher, that you are an enlightened churchman, an enlightened vicar, and you've slowly been sort of rubbing up your parishioners the wrong way with one or two little schemes that you've done before this, and now they've decided to try and stick the boot in on you?
I don't think that's the case at all. I think there's a good spirit in the church.
Well, are you enlightened? Do you regard yourself as an enlightened churchman? Do you do things that weren't being done, say, 5-10 years ago?
Well, yes, we do new things. That's not uncommon among the clergy. We try to keep up with the times and move forward. We try to reach out to different people. I'm sure you have had a lot of coverage this week about Hillsborough. That's one example of the sort of area where I'm sure my colleagues will have been working very hard to try to support people.
Yep.
And that's what we're for. But unless people know we're there, and unless there's the germ of a relationship to start with, it can be very hard for people to take that step and actually get in touch with us.
OK. Do you show other films, by the way?
Yes, we had a showing of the Blues Brothers recently.
The Blues Brothers?
Right, yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, that's good.
It sounds, as some people would describe it, it sounds like it's very sort of happy-clappy sort of church, which is no bad thing.
We're not happy-clappy at all. We would describe ourselves as liberal Catholic. We've got a very strong choral tradition, and that's not just old music, it's cutting-edge music as well in the choral tradition. We run a cafe in the church 4 days a week, 4 mornings a week. We try to use the church. So, for example, during the junior doctors' strike, some of the members of our congregation who are doctors came along and gave free adult life support lessons, CPR, to anybody who wanted them. And we had 25 people drop in during the course of the morning to learn life-saving skills. So are you in the market to try and get sort of younger people in? Because we read all the time that the church is sort of losing audience from year to year, and it's very difficult to find any young people who go. I mean, presumably a lot of young people won't have seen the life of Brian, so this might be an opportunity for them. Well, absolutely. They will have to hurry because the tickets are selling out very quickly.
Are they?
Oh, yes.
When is the screening taking place?
May the 28th.
Okay.
May the 28th.
Doors open at 7.
Okay. Are people allowed to have a drink while they're watching it or around it or anything
It's
like
not a
that?
bar.
Yes, I'm expecting that we'll have a bar there. We did for the Blues Brothers.
Oh,
Okay.
excellent. That's great. This
do you have
sounds
to-
like a great night out,
do you have
actually.
to-
I'm suddenly getting turned on to this.
You'd like to go. Do you have to pay anybody to show the film? I mean, because John Cleese is always moaning and groaning about how Python's getting ripped off all over the place. He's got it in for some theatre troupe from Australia who do a sort of version of Fawlty Towers and travel the world. You might get hit with a bill.
Thankfully, I'm not involved in that side of things, but there's a group called the Leamington Underground Cinema who do pop-up screenings in different places with all the proper licences that they need, so it's all above board and legitimate. They're the ones who are actually running the evening on behalf of the Friends of All Saints Church, which is the body set up to raise funds for the repair of the building.
That's excellent. And Reverend, can I ask you this? What is your attitude to...
Christopher. Just call him Christopher.
No. I'd like to be a bit more respectful. What is your attitude to people who come into your church to join your services who you've never seen before? Because I live in two places. I live in sort of Surrey, but I live down on the coast, and sometimes I'm there on a Sunday.
The South Coast.
The South Coast, that's right. And I will go to a church, in Hampshire somewhere.
When was the last time you went to a church?
About a month ago.
Really?
And I find it neither a magnificent welcome from anybody, nor does anybody ask me what I'm doing there.
Well, you don't get that anywhere you go.
Well, I do. What is your attitude to those sort of people?
So there's always room to learn, but we try to be welcoming. A few years ago, a young couple came along and they said to me, "This is the most welcoming church we've ever been to."
Oh, yeah.
We try hard to welcome people. We do get a lot of visitors, and we get a lot of people who come in for part of the service and out again. We always invite everybody in for a cup of coffee afterwards, even those who've come in through the door to look round the church who haven't actually been to the service.
Oh, right.
So,
Okay.
yes, please do come into the church.
Sounds good. Sounds very progressive. And thank you very much indeed, Father, for joining us today.
Christopher.
Enlightening.
Christopher,
Enlightening.
thank you very much indeed.
Thank you for your time.
May the 28th, Leamington Spa, at
Yeah.
All Saints Church.
Let's
You're
get
going to
up
be
there.
there. I mean, I've never seen you more enthusiastic ever since the guy said he's
yeah.
going to have a bar there.
Well, I think church and bladderation...
Never mind the miracle of changing the water into wine.
Yeah, I think the church and bladderation's a good mix. I mean, you've got to remember.
What was the name of the church you were in a month ago?
Oh, I've no idea.
You don't remember?
I can tell you where it was. It was in a little village called. Actually, I've forgotten.
Yeah, funny.
But no, I know exactly where it is.
Yeah,
It's
good.
halfway between Leon Solent and Gosport, right?
Okay.
Ulverstoke. It's in Ulverstoke.
Was it?
Went to a church in Ulverstoke. Yeah, it's a
Okay.
beautiful church, by the way.
I'll look it up.
Beautiful church, beautiful
Okay.
gardens, all that kind of stuff.
Excellent.
And you've got to remember that when the Romans first got around where Jesus was, the only thing anybody ever drank was wine.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the Christian...
See the time, by the
A
way.
lot of the Christian faith is based on mass bladderation.
Is that what you think?
Well, yes, because there was no water around. They couldn't filter water in those days, so it was
How do
dangerous
they
to
make
drink
wine,
water.
then?
What?
How do they make the wine?
By crushing the grapes in big vats. They all jumped up and down in their bare feet.
No water.
No, you don't need water to make wine. You
This
don't.
is Talk Sport.
The Talk Sport Clips of the Week.
Yes, it's me, Paul Hawksby, alongside me, Andy Jacobs.
Yeah, that is correct.
We are still not with you, of course. The Two Mikes have been with you all week, and they'll be with you next week as well. But we've been asked. We pre-recorded a little bit before we went away as a tribute to Mr. Parry. He's been a major force in the clips over
I'd
the
say
years.
contributor.
Well, yeah, we couldn't do it. We couldn't do it without him and Alan Brazil. We wouldn't have had a chance.
Well, it wouldn't be
so we
many
thought
clips for
we
start.
thought we'd bring you the best of Mr. Parry. It'll feature Mike Graham and Andy Townsend as well. And let's kick off with a classic.
I enjoy a packet of peanuts with a pint of shandy.
I know where you're coming
now,
from.
I want to know what the peanuts are first. So people think I'm mad. I go into the pub and say, "Hi, how you doing? What can I get you, sir?" I said, "Well, first of all, what sort of peanuts do you sell?"
Yeah, you just don't leave that tea out.
On that clip is mad because the first two times he says it's fine.
I know.
It's only the last one.
Yeah.
It's a bit wrong. Now for a subject close to Mr. Parry's heart.
This is Talk Sport Extra Time. We are the Two Mikes. There will be a podcast coming out, of course, a little bit later
What's that
on.
called? The Macho Duck.
Macho Duck,
Oh,
yeah.
I like that, yeah.
You like it?
Well, I like...
It's awful.
I like songs about ducks. I mean,
Do you?
we've got to look after our ducks.
There's not many
and,
songs about ducks, really, are there? I'm thinking too many songs about
No,
ducks.
I thought I saw a pussycat. No, that's not a duck, is it?
That's
no.
not a duck, no.
What was the one about, I saw him there?
That's about a
on the
mouse.
That's about a mouse, right.
I'm enjoying these. I don't think Mike is. Well, Mike Parry isn't
It
anyway.
was an ugly duckling, I suppose. But anyway,
That's why it's good. You got on staying with ducks.
yeah.
Somebody bought you?
Yeah, a fat duck ceramic for my
ceramic
new garden.
duck?
Yeah, for my
So
new garden.
is it like life size?
No, of course not life size. Oh, I see.
why not?
To a duck. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's about.
What's
Yeah,
life size to a duck?
Yeah, it's about. Yeah,
What do you mean?
No, I thought you meant the size of a man.
That's not life size to a duck, is it?
Is it me?
Yeah.
Now for a moment of classic Mike Parry backtracking.
In this country, what's the Southampton Core?
Core?
Southampton's manager. But
You mean the Dutch guy?
no, the German.
Koeman.
The German, Koeman.
Koeman, he's Dutch.
No, he's German.
No, he's not German.
Who? Who are we talking about?
The Southampton manager.
Yes.
Ronald Koeman.
Ronald Koeman's Dutch.
Beep, 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 beep. It's clever how he does it.
It's good.
Here's a troubling moment from the two mics.
If you were invisible for a day, where would you go and what would you do?
I would go into an old people's home with a baseball bat.
Should point out, Mr. Parry didn't mean the residents. He meant people that are nasty to the residents, and he would sort them out.
Now for a very odd theory.
The rucksackers are something we're going to talk about during the course of this show in the next few weeks. Rucksackers, to me, are the dearth of human civilization.
Rucksackers. Of all the people he could have as targets. Here's Mike's take on the controversial Kim Kardashian photo shoot from a few years back.
I thought it was repulsive, the whole thing, and if she came up to me in a nightclub and said, would you fancy coming back to my place for, a heart warmer or something like that, I'd say no.
I thought only a third of his heart works.
Yeah, but it wouldn't need much to warm. But the idea of Kim Kardashian being in a club and looking across the room and seeing Mike and saying, I'd like to take him back to my flat for a heart warmer, whatever that is. And what's next?
In this clip, we really think Andy Townsend should stop egging Mike on.
The one I find odd is when you go into these little shops, and they're just corner shops, they've got a machine there saying, get money out of here.
And they never work anyway.
Well, even if they do, I'm a bit suspicious that there's there's not a man in there. And as soon as you push your card in, he takes a note of your number and then pushes it out again. And you get a few quid. I mean, they're very odd machines, those.
Well, they are.
Well, no, they're not. And the idea of a little man being there and then giving you a few quid. You might have nothing in your account. He could be down on the day. That's why I'm out. Time for a biology lesson now.
If you drink salt water, Andy, your tongue goes bigger than a loaf of bread in your mouth.
I don't think it does, Professor Parry. Anyway.
From biology, let's go to geography.
Who came runners-up to Lyon in the French League last season and are now in the Champions League?
I'll take a stab, I'll say Bordeaux, Mike.
Bordeaux, as in the tapestry, yeah?
Yeah.
No.
Now, we will be in Bordeaux, myself and Andy, in the summer for Talk Sport, the European Championships, and we're going to go in hunt of the tapestry, aren't we? We're going to find it and get photographic evidence.
Here's Mike's take on the Ten Commandments.
Thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not covet the neighbour's wife.
You're obsessed with that one, aren't you?
Hang on, yeah. Excuse me. Thou shalt not do in thy neighbour.
Thou shalt not do in thy neighbour.
Yeah, it's
I'm
a
not sure.
contemporary
Not
version.
sure that was on the old tablets. Another classic now and a favourite of Andy's.
Let's go to James, who's a Man United fan in Sheffield. Goodness me, James, is that you? Are you there?
You're on Mars.
Any bad line Andy gets either at home or at work, he will say, you on Mars?
You're Mars. Here's Mike discussing his beloved home county.
Question number 3. What is the area of Surrey in square miles?
Square miles? The area of Surrey.
The area of Surrey in square miles.
I think it's in square miles. Right, hang on. What's 10 times 100? I think it's just over 1 million square miles.
Yeah, I don't think it is.
No.
Don't think it is. That's the size of quite a few countries, I would think. Never mind counties. This clip we're calling the two mics in a nutshell.
There's one saying that the RFU want to try and get hold of the Irish manager.
Yes.
Not quite sure why they want him.
Is that
the coach?
The New Zealand guy?
I can't remember his name.
Yeah, I remember his name.
Can you? What is it?
His name is Ian.
Ian? Ian, go on.
Hang on, what is his name? Ian. He's very good.
Meanwhile, Lawrence...
McClacken?
You're thinking of Ian McGeechan?
No, McGeechan. It's not McGeechan. It's the other guy, you know.
What other guy?
Well, the guy who runs Wales. What's his name?
No, Ireland.
Runs Ireland.
You're thinking of Warren Gatland, aren't you?
Warren Gatland.
Yeah, no, he runs Wales.
No, but they do want Warren Gatland.
Yeah, but
they
he
do
doesn't,
want Warren
but
Gatland.
he doesn't run Ireland.
He runs Wales, and they want him.
In a nutshell, there, the two Mikes, as you've heard this week. Now, this last one, Andy. Mike does love a sing-song, and he has got this amazing ability to rewrite lyrics on the hoof.
Very much.
Great improvisation. I don't know how he does it. I maintain this is genius. This is the alternative lyrics to Do You Think I'm Sexy?
Yeah. If you think you have what it takes and you want to be one of the two challengers to give Anthony a run for his money tomorrow, then the song you need to work on is Do You Think I'm Sexy by Rod Stewart.
Would you like me to give you a few bars of that?
Go on in.
If you think I'm sexy and you're done to love me, come on, baby, open wide. If you think I'm groovy and you want to smooch me, come on, baby, by my side.
It's quite a filthy song to start with. He's made it even filthier, isn't it? So there we are. Mr. Graham would have enjoyed those. Not so much Mr. Parry, I think. They're meant as a tribute, Mike, to all your fine work. Yeah. And I hope you're having a good week, and have a good week next week, and we will catch up with you both soon.
They really are playing like champions now. Leicester City within touching distance of destiny.
Driving home after the game against Swansea, saying, OK, well, if Spurs drop points here, we can be champions against United at Old Trafford. I just laughed after I said it, because the fact that the words came out and I wasn't hallucinating or dreaming, or it was real.
1966 was the first time my dad brought me down here. It's been some good teams, but it's been a fantastic 18 months, really.
It's crazy. We've just been in town and it's just crazy. Everybody in the blue and flags, all in the market is amazing. Flags and umbrellas and balloons. Just brilliant.
I've already warned my wife that there could be tears, because it's so ludicrous. It's even being a Leicester fan, you still can't quite believe it until it is in the bag.
But we're having a family do on Sunday, everybody around to watch the game, and then we'll all be down here on Saturday for hopefully presentation.
Blue day up in Leicester, and they could win it, of course, this weekend. It's live on TalkSport. Manchester United against Leicester City at Old Trafford, 2:05 kickoff. Our man, who, of course, has been covering Leicester all of his life because he's a massive Leicester fan himself, is Jeff Peters. Jeff, a very good afternoon to you.
Dilly ding, dilly dong, as Claudio Ranieri would say.
So here it is then. So this is the weekend, very possibly, but some people have been saying, fantastic that Leicester's turned blue for the day and everybody's very happy and getting carried away. Are you one of those superstitious types that thinks it might all be slightly early?
Well, it could still go badly wrong. You look
that would
at
be
it,
amazing if it did, though, wouldn't it?
Basically, you've got a 7-point lead in a 3-game season. That's where we are at the moment.
Yeah.
So you would think that if they don't manage it on Sunday, then maybe Chelsea will give them a helping hand against Spurs on Monday. If neither of those things necessarily happen, there's still a home game against an Everton side who, sorry, Mike, are not in great shape at the moment. And then they've got to go to Chelsea. So they've got 3 opportunities to get this win. They could draw the last 3 games. Spurs have obviously got to win their last 3 games. I can smell it, but I can't quite touch it.
That's right. Now, Jeff, I'm very, very interested to know what the procedures will be where they win it and when the trophy appears. If they win it at Manchester United, they wouldn't expect to be given the trophy. But then the Premier League surely will have the trophy for the next home game, the last home game of the season, against Everton, to be able to award it to them after that game, won't they?
From what I can gather, if Leicester win the title on Sunday at Old Trafford, they won't get the trophy there. If they manage to do it against Everton, they will get it at the home game. That will be the plan.
That makes some sense, doesn't it?
The last home game of the season.
Exactly. That's good.
Ideally, that's where they like to do it. So even if they win the league on Sunday, it will be at the Everton
Yeah, but
game.
that's the way it should be, because, to be honest, years ago, they had this firm rule that you didn't get it to the last game of the season, and if that was an away game, you only had 2,000 or 3,000 of your own fans there, and then you had to then have a special ceremony of bringing all the fans to the ground at midweek and all that kind of stuff. So I'm delighted that that's been put into place. What I'm not delighted about, Jeff, because it's happened to me before, is that my team are going to be making up the numbers for that game. You know what I mean? I saw it happen against Arsenal, when Arsenal, in one of their double years, and Tony Adams picked up the trophy. I think it was at Goodison Park, and you just feel like you're just there to make it up the numbers.
Well, it's interesting that a few Everton fans have been saying, actually, I've got a ticket for the match, I'll give it to a Leicester fan.
That's a great thing.
There's actually quite a good connection between Everton and Leicester in terms of supporters, and that they seem to get on quite well.
Well, there's the Gary Lineker connection as well. Because he went from you to us, he went off to Barcelona, and there's been a bond, I think, and a link between the two clubs ever since.
Yeah, and there was sadly an Everton fan died on his way to or his way from a Leicester game once when he was coming to support the Toffees, and so there is a bit of a link between the two. I think Everton fans probably will be quite happy to see Leicester win the league, and I suspect there's a few Everton fans who would be quite happy to lose if it meant a change of manager, because there does seem to be...
It may have happened by then.
Well, the tide does seem to be turning against Roberto Martinez.
Claudio Ranieri's been talking today, and he says he's been watching his players prepare in the same way they have all year. I mean, obviously, we know there's a Hollywood movie in the works. For Jamie Vardy, I suppose, he might... In the best will in the world, want to see them win at Old Trafford, but if he's not playing, he might prefer it, a week later at home, right?
Yes. If you could pick a game to win it at, it would be probably that match against Everton.
Of course, it would.
Listen, as Leicester fans, we all want it to happen on Sunday. And the great thing about Claudio Ranieri is that he's been playing it down all season. He's been keeping a very calm head and keeping the players very calm. He said in the press conference, we are fighting to make this dream a reality, but it's not a reality yet. It's a very tough match on Sunday. He said, I've got a lot of respect for Van Gaal and the players and the fans. I'm just concentrating on one match. The players have trained the same. They're very concentrated. I've talked to the players. Everything is in our hands. If our strength is to be concentrated, we must continue in that way. I've got a lot of choice. I've got 24 players. Maybe I'll change them all. The Tinkerman never changes his ways, he said with his tongue firmly in his cheek. I'm not nervous. I think only of Manchester. Be strong, be solid. And the fans love how Ranieri has dealt with this whole incredible, wonderful, bonkers but beautiful season.
Yeah, I hope that you draw at Manchester United and that Vardy on his return scores the winning goal, which gives you the title, because I think that'd be a really fitting fairy tale end to a fairy tale season.
I think for once you're right, Mike. It would be a wonderful end to it. But maybe it'll be another one of the players who comes up to finish off the script, possibly at Old Trafford on Sunday. It might be a player who comes off the bench. You never know. It might even be a scrappy own goal that eventually pushes them over the line. But it's been a wonderful team ethic this season, brilliant team spirit, which they had in the Championship, which Nigel Pearson built this really strong squad and a very tight mentality, all very much together, a band of brothers, if you like, and they've just continued that. And it's easy to go, well, Vardy's a hero and Mahrez is a hero, but for me, N'Golo Conte is the player of the season. He is the heartbeat of the side. And then you throw in some of the, I don't want to use the phrase waifs and strays, but players who were considered not good enough for other clubs or who were let go. You look at Mark Albrighton from Villa and Danny Simpson, who was surplus to requirements at Stoke, and Kasper Schmeichel could be following in his dad's footsteps. And there's Danny Drinkwater, who was let go by Manchester United, like Simpson was. So there's so many great angles to this story. And Andy King, who has pretty much been a bit part player this season, coming off the bench. He was in the Leicester side that won the League One title in 2009. He was part of the Championship winning side in 2014, and he could now be picking up a third medal, which I'm not sure anybody has done has won those three divisions in their career.
And as much as we're looking at all of the drama and it's all unfolding as we speak in this weekend, I mean, there's some great drama going on in the Championship as well.
Massive, yeah.
Birmingham, Middlesbrough tonight. All three top teams on the same 87 points. A bit of a dip then down to Hull and Derby and Sheffield Wednesday. But Middlesbrough need to win this one tonight?
I think they do. It's going to come down to the final day of the season. I fancy Burnley to go up. They're 21 unbeaten. They're home to QPR on Monday. 9 wins in 13. I can't see anything more than a Burnley win there. And I think they've got Charlton last game of the season. So for me, Burnley will go up. And then which one of Middlesbrough and Brighton will hold their nerve? Middlesbrough unbeaten in 8. They're at Birmingham tonight. You'd fancy Borough going there. Brighton, 7 wins in 8, fantastic form since the middle of January. Derby, not doing too badly, who they play on Monday, so that'll be a tricky one for them. And then it's last game of the season, Middlesbrough against Brighton. That will be as important as the playoff final, because it's pretty much it will be winner gets an automatic promotion spot, and whoever misses out, maybe with 91 points, then they will have to try and lift themselves again for the playoffs. That disappointment of missing out on the final day of the season. It's incredibly fascinating stuff. And even the final playoff place, Sheffield Wednesday or Cardiff, it's a straight shootout between them two, and they play each other tomorrow. Great stuff in the Championship.
It really is amazing stuff. Jeff, thank you very much indeed. Best of luck this weekend. Jeff Peters, of course, our Championship expert and massive Leicester fan. We'll be hearing a lot from him this weekend.
You bet.
Don't forget to follow the Two Mics at the Two Mics on Twitter and on YouTube. Just look for Two Mics TV.
Does Mickey wear a Newcastle shirt, like, as a vest, and then a Liverpool shirt as his second vest, and then a white shirt? What have you done? Killed a couple of mice in the pursuit of in pursuit of scientific research or something? Anyway, it got 4 stars out of 5 in all the reviews I've seen, so it must be a top film.
Well, are you going to go and see it at the weekend?
No. I was buying essential things.
Like what?
Swiss roll. If you think I'm sexy and you're going to love me, come on, baby, open wide.